ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Welcome to StarCraft Brood War BSL 2 vs 2 Pro League. We got two best of fives and a best of three. I'm here with JIRAIYA and vOddy. We're going to start off with one random team, actually. You're going to see, so we don't know what race he's going to have.
Looks like we're having some technical difficulties here.
Yeah, the screen got black for a second. Let's see. Okay. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. All right. Okay. So it's okay. We figured it out.
Got it. All right. Well,
actually, he just holds out. That's all.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. Happy to be here again with you, vOddy. Casting this 2 vs 2 BSL, and let's get into it. Oh, here's the brackets.
Right, so the first best of five, we're just gonna start on the map JIRAIYA. It's gonna be Izu, Wave, Andy, Biggie.
Yep. So I guess Biggie is gonna random, as you kind of noted already. So we'll see what he rolls in this first match here. But I guess we can just say a little bit about the players before we get into the match. Izu and Wave, very strong Zerg and Protoss team. Izu's from Czech Republic, and Wave is from Sweden. And their opponents is going to be Andy and Biggie. Andy is a Canadian Zerg player, and Biggie is a Canadian random player. So these guys both, all these guys, both teams, very high level. Definitely interested to see how they're going to play based on what Biggie's race is going to be. So we'll kind of see how things develop. But yeah, both of these guys are really good bodies, so I'm expecting some really high-level games.
Very nice. All right, well then I hope if we're ready, can we go into the first game?
All right, let's get into it. vOddy, you want to do the intros?
All right, so BSL, this is Biggie at the top of the Protoss. So he was the random, right? So he did spawn as the Protoss at the 12 o'clock. And his ally, right, is going to be in cross positions, the Zerg, Andy.
Yep.
Now this map is a little bit of Python, so his opponent here, Izu, the other Zerg on the enemy team, is going to be right next to him. They're going to spot each other now. It's kind of a Python dynamic, and of course Wave, the Protoss. So cross position with your teammates, Zerg, Protoss mirror, basically.
Yep.
Now, if there's like a team that doesn't have a Zerg, or like say you have a Zerg Protoss versus Terran Zerg or something, sometimes there's a little bit of ambiguity where like you have to decide which race is going to deal with the Mutalisks, right? Like, is Terran going to go Irradiate, or is Protoss going to go Corsair? So we've actually seen both to good effect in this tournament before. But when it's a ZP versus ZP, as a 2v2 player, what usually do you see for unit comps for the Protoss? Because Zerg is going to go Mutalisks normally, but what do you think the Protoss usually do?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Great question, vOddy. I think the Protosses tend to play more similarly in that they're both likely going to go 2-gate. So the question is with the Protosses, at least, I think it's how quickly they're gonna get their gas, and whether or not they're gonna get a third gateway with that 2-gate open. On the flip side, the Zergs, there's a lot more variability there. I think on the Zerg side, what we typically see are overpool builds, often playing one hatch into Muta kind of situations, or an overpool build going into a 2-hatch Ling mask kind of style.
Right. I was going to ask you about that actually, because we saw Siki skip Mutalisks or get them very late early with Bonith. But I want to ask you, like, is that something you only do versus Zerg Terran, or is that actually viable versus Zerg Protoss too? And like having...
Yeah, no, with Ziki and Bonith, Ziki, I think his Muta control is just so good. You would think he would go Muta, but yeah, I've noticed that too. In their ZP mirror matchups, Ziki tends to favor going quick and staying on mass lings. So I think it really depends on the player, but it looks like here both Zergs are electing to go for that layer style, which I'm not surprised given the sort of cross positioning that they're in. It does tend to play into sort of like an isolated ZVZ
Right, yeah.
Muta versus Muta style.
Yeah, because I mean, if the Protoss is supposed to take care of the enemy, oh, nice mana pylon by the way. He chooses not to cancel it.
Nice. Yep.
And it looks like his gas is early, if I'm seeing that correctly on the minimap. But yeah, I mean, if your allies, okay, so they're both taking the gas, but if your ally's far away from you and you're supposed to protect him in terms of anti-air with Corsairs, it's just kind of difficult to do if he's not close to you, you know. Whereas if you're close to your ally, you can control both bases quite easily.
Right, and that's actually a gas made from Wave in Biggie's base.
Okay, so he stole the gas, so going for that early take advantage.
Right.
Now, that can be pretty sweet, because like, the only advantage you're going to have now as the red team, as Andy and Biggie, is going to be more units, right? But if you plug the ramp, you may not be able to use the fact that you have more units.
Right, exactly. That's exactly right. And also, those 4 Zealots that were in Biggie's main are now inside, are now just leaving the base. But that gas really prohibited his ability to get those Zealots out onto the map. Whereas here, Wave is now taking up quicker, which tends to do well against the Muta opposition that that Andy is going to have at the 6 o'clock position. So I kind of like the position that the blue team's in right now, just relative to Wave's quicker tech. But you got to think, Biggie's got to get something done here. His tech is way slow, and with the Zergs both going Muta, you got to think these Zealots got to get something done here.
Okay, so yeah, they're trying to use their unit advantage here. Because just like in a Zerg versus Zerg, where if you have a later Spire, you can go Zerglings to delay the Mutalisks, because they're force Sunkers and force Links. You can do the same in 2v2, which is what they're trying to do. And they're actually going to catch a lot of these Links here. Horrible position walking into this. Alright, of course, they're in the rush, because they do want to delay the Mutalisk as much as possible, since they are behind the technology. And here we go. Only one Sunken, this could be dangerous.
Yeah, and kind of leading the charge here. Zealot should be leading the charges.
One drone
going for the drones here. Picks off 1 drone here from Izu.
But the reinforcing Zealots, dude, from Wave. Pretty good move there. So they're going to be able to... I mean, they did delay the Mutas a bit, because they forced the Larva to be used. Like, we didn't see 3 Larva stack, right?
Right, exactly.
But nonetheless, I think that was probably pretty good by Wave and Izu to come in there and clean up all those units, right?
Yeah, excellent timing there from Wave to get there and help his ally. We got to really see what's going to develop here from Andy. Looks like Mutas are on the way. 3 Mutas out now.
So they had the Zealot advantage, but they didn't commit with the Zerging advantage too. So he was able to save Larva, coming here with 3 Mutas against 1, and maybe even kill his opponent.
Yeah, it's kind of an awkward spot here for Izu. He's going to lose. Ooh, both Scourge land hit there for Andy. Really excellent micro here from Andy.
Yeah, so that's a dead Zerg right there. I don't see how anything else can come to pass here. So it's going to be a 2v1.
Now there's only 1 Muta left, though. And here Wave launching a large counterattack. This is a big attack here from Wave. Some of Biggie's forces are actually heading towards Izu, leaving his forces at home a little bit light.
Oh, wow. Even the Zealots.
Nice. Oh, last goes down from Andy.
Okay, good probe drill. If you can hold the ramp, it's going to take some damage, but probably not as much as the Zerg did, right? I think he's going to hold it.
Well, he's going to be farming down the probes here, taking some economic damage. If he can get on top of this ramp with the reinforcements coming from behind. Nice choke here, though, for Biggie.
Yeah, that's going to be the end for Izu right there. Andy just going in no mercy, finishing him off. So, like, the only way to win like in a situation like this normally is if you like take up and you come up with like a Reaver or something. But I don't think we have that from Wave.
No, Wave needs to kill him now. Wave needs to kill him now, and I think he can do it. If Wave does it, if he kills Biggie here, which looks like he can, you gotta think he can beat 1 hatch from Andy.
That is insane, dude. He just kept pressing and actually made it up the ramp. Now, I wonder if maybe the Mutalisk could have been sent to assist, but it's too late for now. Too many Dragoons were allowed to accumulate here. And surely the Protoss would beat the 1-base Zerg, as you said, in a 1v1 later.
Biggie just took too much economic damage, sending all those probes to his ramp and then losing them, and Wave just constantly producing units and streaming them into Biggie's base is just so much overwhelming pressure. Biggie here looks like he's out, but he's got units left. He's got probes, okay, so he does have probes. I think in this spot, Andy needs to come help Biggie, because Biggie does have probes. He didn't manage to squeak them out.
Well, the muted is keeping joining in now.
Oh,
the
that's
one
Muta.
muted. It's gonna be taken out now. Rip.
Oh, there they are.
Okay, here comes Muted. So finally gonna clean this up. But so many probes are lost. Like I think the probes you saw right there are like the only probes he has.
That's it. 2 probes. He can't even make another probe right now until those get back. Is he doing what he can with what he has? And he's literally got 0 minerals.
You remember when Biggie counterattacked with 3 zealots as his base got attacked? Like I have to wonder, if he had used those to defend himself, maybe he could have survived, right?
Yep, absolutely. Those 3 zealots was absolutely
4 gate goons, by the way. So that's how he managed to make his way up there.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people think 3 gate goon is a max, but you can actually do like 3.8 or 3.7, which means 4 is actually a little bit better than 3 if you really just want to slam out a lot of goons, and that's what he went for.
You know, I've never heard of that as a statistic, a 3.7, 3.8, but that sounds really, really accurate and precise. When I play Protoss,
I haven't done that, but it's something like that, yeah.
4 gate, it's kind of tough, but I guess it depends on the number of probes you have. In this spot right here, Wave's got more probes than both of the red players here in terms of peons or workers. But Andy's got a decent number of mutants here. He can definitely pick off these 2.
Yeah, I mean, if Biggie can get back in the game, it's going to be a 2v1, so... Honestly, at this point, I don't know if Zerg can do it, but like, if he could just barely hold on long enough for his ally to come back, they could win.
Yeah, but giving up the ramp, above the ramp is really where Andy can trade the best there, but to give that spot up, which he had to because of the numbers...
Yeah, and every Protoss not is huge here. 1 Protoss now. Massive.
Yeah. I think Wave did it, man.
I mean, there is a little bit of an issue, which is that if he ever goes to kill his neighbor, then Immutos come in to counter, and then it can come back. But there's just so many Dragoons, you can actually have Dragoons everywhere. Like enough to defend an attack, so... Yeah.
Oh, picking off doing some damage in the middle. Picks off 1 Muta there for Wave. Really nice pick off there from Wave there. Yeah, I think Andy's realizing that there's too much here in this follow-up. I need to go do something into Wave's base and try to win this 1 versus 1. Andy's gonna like to pick off these free goons in the middle. Meanwhile, Wave getting into Biggie's base, finishing him off. These last 4 probes, 3 probes, 2 probes.
Yeah, that's gonna have to be. And here comes the counter attack. But look at how many Dragoons are here, dude. There are just so many units everywhere. No matter where you go, the army is superior.
Yeah, that's a lot of goons.
Yeah, and they're being reinforced by the gateways. It's like, it's just too much. Damn, dude.
Wave's macro this game and his timing with his units just looking really sharp. GG. Or
good job.
Good job. Is watching.
Is eating some popcorn and enjoying the show.
And there it is. GG. Wow.
Damn, that was a back and forth. That was crazy to do.
Yeah, it looked real grim for them there, especially with the Muta versus Muta situation, and then Wave just decides to take the opportunity and decisively counters Biggie and kind of steamrolled into a victory. That was really impressive from Wave, and you got to think those 3 Zealots, if they just stayed home, could have been a different outcome.
So are we ready for the next game?
Yes, sir. I think, yeah, so the loser's team is going to pick the map. We'll see what the Game 2 map will be. As soon as Zero gives us the green light, we'll go ahead into match number 2 of this Best of 5 series.
So as a team with a random user, you know, are certain maps going to be better for that? I'm thinking like the island map, maybe, if you're comfortable playing on Sparkle, would give you an advantage as a random, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I never really had thought about that. ZR on Sparkle. I mean, Sparkle's not very large, but there is that element of kind of surprise there. But the OV can also get there too. So I'm kind of in between. I understand sort of that mentality. To me, Sparkle's a ZP map. You know, that's just how I view it. But yeah, I would think kind of middle of the road for Andy and Biggie here. Just understanding that win was really just costed by just 1 movement. So I don't think they're, you know, mentally going to be out of it in this spot. I think if anything, they're hungrier because they feel like they let that out of their, you know, slip from their hands. So no, I don't think it's going to be Sparkle. I think it might be something more middling, like a Fighting Spirit, or maybe even like a Luna. But we'll see. All right, let's get into it.
So this looks like Fighting Spirit indeed. They wanted to keep it simple, you know. Now, what are the positions? Because that actually matters a lot. So it's Andy and Biggie. So cross positions again. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's Zerg Protoss versus Zerg and Protoss. Mirror match once again.
Yep. So we're gonna have Biggie here in the bottom right position, and his ally Andy, and this here is gonna be Wave, allying his ally is gonna be Izu, the Zerg, in the top right. So the Zergs are both up top. Izu's gonna scout Biggie, Andy's gonna scout Izu, and we'll see where Wave will go scouting Andy. So kind of interesting how the scouting pattern is kind of like a clockwise situation here.
Yeah, I guess usually people try to scout the natural.
Yeah.
So you can put your overlord there and get some value.
Exactly.
Gateway Probe Scout, so coming out here from Wave. And we haven't seen... yeah, actually both Protoss scouting at the same time also.
BSC is Gosu for 10 months.
Yep, so we'll see. Are they going to both play later like they did last game? Obviously on this map, very much different like Paranoid Android or what we call Python. They're not going to be as close to each other, even though they're both in that upper part of the map positions. So we'll see kind of what their opens are. I expect an overpull layer just like last game from both Zergs here, but we'll see if there's any adjustments that either Zergs will make. But right now, Izu doesn't know what the race is. Oh, actually, the probe of Biggie's is in Wave's base.
Yeah, it did reveal itself. Oh, and we have a lair first again.
Yep.
Izu. Yeah, like you said, probably the same. Interesting.
Wave,
so is that a forge right there in the base? Oh, we got a mana pylon, by the way. Oh, but it's not blocked. No, is that an anti-mana? Because it's not blocking anything. No. Is it? No. It's not. So that's a little bit of a failed mana pylon, I've got to say. That doesn't actually do much.
Yeah, I gotta question this one.
So that's unfortunate, but anyway, 2-gate so far for both players. Now, of course, you can go to 2-gate Forge and cannon up your ally on your own ramp and tech, or you could go 2-gate Gas and go into Dragoons. Those are the two most common paths here. One base layer, one hatch layer for both Zergs so far.
Yeah, Izu's gonna manage to try to get 2 Zealots into Biggie's base. Biggie looks like he's gonna seal off his wall in. But this Zealot from Biggie is gonna get up to Izu, and Andy's Lings are gonna chauffeur him.
They're gonna see the pylon.
Doing a really good job. They see the pylon.
So when you see this, you're essentially expecting like the opposing team to take up first, or it could theoretically just be to help the Zerg, so the Zerg can stack up 3 larvae and then explode into Mutalisks. But a lot of the times, he's making the forge here, interesting. A lot of the times, Protoss will actually tech fast while cannoning up and then come out with like a faster Reaver or Templar or something. But we don't actually see that yet.
Yeah, this cannon looks like it will pay off. Well, the cannon's not yet being morphed. That's a forge. Okay, so Biggie actually going to send his Zealots out. Wave coming in for a counter could be a little dangerous here. For
this timing right here, dude.
Yeah.
We don't have a cannon yet, so I think he might actually die here. He's got to hold the ramp until... And yeah, he's going to have to drone driller.
Yep. Yeah, this is all in. He needs to hold the ramp. No sunken at home.
But yeah, he's going to lose 1 drone.
Now, Wave is hitting Biggie right now. But Izu needs to hold it.
Damn, that cannon is so far away from finishing. So many drones are going to die for this. So we really need the counterattack from Wave at the bottom to do so much damage to pay for this. To make up
right. Meanwhile, Andy, no resistance. He's just going straight into Muta. Really nice counter here from Wave.
Yeah, he took out the pile, so no more units right there. That means this Protoss is eventually going to die. Biggie is going to die.
Oh man. Did they make another blunder? That same blunder?
Yeah.
Izu has enough money for Scourge for days.
Right, yeah, so we can...
Oh man.
Possibly, the only way to kill Izu right now with a mute advantage is like the most godlike Chinese triangle micro you've ever seen. Like, remember that Pimpus played with the one meter? Like, that's the level we need right now. That's the only way this could work.
Now, this shield battery is definitely proving its worth here. If he can pick off that core, that's going to help Izu, at least in terms of his air. Okay, gets the core, that's good.
He's not even gonna die, so the counterattack isn't even really working. Because of the circle reinforcements.
Okay,
You're gonna go to camp the eggs. This could be good, actually. Maybe not good enough, but it's definitely good.
Yeah, because Andy went for speed, maybe that's why the Scourge timing here is so fast. In any case, if you can get any muted, that'd be amazing. Oh my goodness. How?
Does he have the insane Chinese triangle? Let's find out.
The triangle micro.
Yeah, I mean, you can actually counter micro that, so even if you have it down, like, it's not a guarantee.
Can you really? With
yeah, because you can manually move the Scourge so that it doesn't bug out, you know what I mean? Like, just move, take it a lot. Oh, the Dragoons, though.
Will I get it? Oh, man.
Yeah, I got it.
Nice pick off. Alright, well, more Scourge being produced here from Mizu. Not surprisingly.
He's doing drone Scourge, basically, trying to get back in the game. And one connects, actually. Very big deal right there.
Yeah. Yeah, really nice.
And two mutas coming in right now.
How?
Okay, so the Scourge is zoning out the other mutas when he goes for the main base. If you could get a drone here, that'd be amazing. But the Dragoons are going to put us... two Zealots, too, though. So they want to equal out the eco damage rate. One drone already went down. Two even.
Right. Now, with the cannons, they feel like they can trade like this, and I totally understand that mindset. This is going to give Wave time, too, to get his goon count up. This might be worth it. I don't know.
I have to imagine that was worth it, because now the equalized... I mean, he's even ahead in economy right now. He's by one round. And he was not ahead in economy before, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
After the beating he took. So we just have Dragoon range on the way, no real tech for Wave, and... Okay, 3-gate goon. So basically Dragoon spam for both players, but it's Dragoon spam where one Protoss has cannons at the map, right? Which gives them a lot more freedom to maneuver in the middle of the map without dying to counterattacks.
Yeah, and the other one Protoss has 8 more probes than the other. You know that's going to play a role as this game continues each second.
Can he survive this? One drone's going to down minimum. 2.
Oh, nice pick off there from Andy.
And with Micro, he could even win this fight, although he's getting the moving shot, so it's going to have to do something. One Scourge goes down.
Wow, this is so intense. Really good micro from Mizu. Damages everything.
That was some good manual Scourge micro, where he was like constantly spam kicking it to make sure it landed.
Andy feeling a lot more confident with 4. He's going to be more confident with 5. This is really tight. Really, really tight. Izu's on 4 drones. Decided to...
So yeah, moving up now is Wave with his Dragoons, and of course he's not really going to die to counterattack because he has so many cannons there. But he might get 2v1 here, so they probably want to link up their units here, and looks like they're going to go for a 2v1. And of course they don't see this coming, the enemy, so if you're like responding by the time your base is already dying, obviously even if you clean it up, you're going to take a lot of damage.
Right, this is one of those situations where you got to give an edge to the team that strikes first.
Exactly.
Here comes Wave.
So he's going to go for the counterattack, but the cannons are going to absorb it easily.
Oh, he's got the defense.
Which means Andy is dead up here. He can't hold it.
Now, if he could manage to get a drone out, okay, he's definitely going to get a drone out. He's got money for an extractor, or he doesn't have money for an extractor. Here, Wave, all in here, he needs to hold.
Oh, now the Wave is coming in easy right here. That was the pro grade, he's going to be able to hold the map. That was so good, to be there with
Mizu, reading the game, reading the situation. Biggie has been making probes. He is up to 17 now.
The only really vulnerable point is to attack Izu at the top right now. But if you do, you're going to get counterattacked and die to Wave's Dragoons, right? Because he doesn't have his own cannons. Biggie, right?
Right. There's no winning move here. You got to think. Now, Andy doesn't have mutas left. So he's much less of a threat here.
Oh, he's even sunken crawling very nice to the map because he knows it is the only weakness right now.
Right.
Now, he doesn't have enough to hold 1v2, but this is going to give a lot of freedom to Wave to... I mean, he could counterattack, or he could even expand, because this is actually going to like absorb a lot of... it's going to give him a lot of time, but he could catch these units and then use the army advantage to expand. If he wants to, there's a lot he could do. He could try to sneak in a DT. You try to go for Weaver because he knows there's not going to be any enemy mutalisks to deal with. So Dragoon Weaver could actually be good right now.
Yeah, it looks like Wave's going to have enough here. Wave should be able to survive this.
Yeah, and at this point, if he can just camp the ramp of his ally with his own dragoons, and then camp his own ramp with, cannons, obviously, then they can just play it out 2v1 and win eventually.
Nice cleanup there from the blue team. Yeah, this is a tough spot for Biggie. He's gonna have to work a miracle.
And he's getting
into Templars.
So that's a way to get an expansion, essentially, because you know your opponent doesn't have an observer. Yeah, GG, that's it.
GG.
I'm glad we got to see the cannons on the ramp, because I always talk about how good those are, but a lot of times people haven't been going for them so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, you pointed it out. You know, when you see that pylon, what do you do? And I think, you know, kind of to your point, it boils down to two options. You either try to push it before the cannons go up, or you play into more of a quicker tech and play defensively. I mean, if they're wasting money on cannons, it certainly doesn't make sense to overproduce units if you don't think it makes sense to push up that there. But yeah, another weird kind of situation where in the sort of early parts of the game, because Izu was being pushed so hard and losing drones left and right, kind of like game one, I felt like Andy and Biggie had sort of a great position early on, but minus a few, actions, Izu and Wave get back into it and then somehow just come out ahead. Just really interesting how close these teams are.
Yeah, that was a very close game. So of course, the losing team's going to be able to pick a map, and I'm interested to see what they pick, actually. Are they going to pick a standard map, or are they going to be, those guys picking Sparkle,
I don't know. I know Andy. Andy's a close friend of mine. I know he doesn't like Sparkle, so...
Okay, spoiler. All right.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if it was Sparkle, let's put it that way. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, honestly. Again, sort of middling of the road. Mentally, I think if I'm Andy and Biggie, it's like, I feel like luck isn't on my side right now. Like, we're not really playing bad. It's like minus a few thing. So I wouldn't feel too discouraged if I'm them, but when you're down 0-2 in a best of 5 series, obviously all chips on the table here in game 3. I'm not gonna try to take risks, just try to beat them. So middling of the road, maybe a Luna, Paradiso kind of thing. We'll see. All right, let's get into it. Game number 3 here in the best of 5.
Right, and Luna was the map chosen, so we got Wave at the top left as the Protoss, of course. And his ally cross-spawned again is Izu, the Brown Zerg. Versus Biggie up here as the blue Protoss. And his ally, the red Zerg at the bottom. So another Protoss Zerg mirror. Now I have to question, was he truly random, or is he picking Protoss?
That's
Right?
exactly what I was thinking as well. I'm starting to think he went ahead and chose Protoss, but we can find that out momentarily. But yeah, I think Biggie's best race is Protoss. It would make sense for him at this stage of the tournament because there are no limitations to your ability to change your race. Even though you're designated as a random doesn't mean you have to do it. I think he chose to go P here in this series, which is not a surprise. I think it's the strongest one.
Andy. Yeah, Zerg Protoss, of course, is a very standard team that everybody knows is viable,
Yep.
And nothing weird about that configuration. So, mirror the 9-pool gas build so far, it seems like. Now, is that like a reaction to being cross-spawn, or is that just that they happen to go for that right here?
Yeah, good question. I think this is more of a reaction to the map, right? So this map, Luna, this is like the newest version. This is the Neo Luna final version. I like this version because link-proof walls are available for Terran players.
Right, yeah.
But this ramp is big. It's a big ramp. It's a small map, so I think it favors...
Oh, yeah, the ramp, right.
Yeah, the ramp is big. It's a large ramp. It favors kind of melee kind of style, wings, mass kind of style openings. So I would expect both Zerg players here to actually go into 2-hatch Ling play versus layer play, and then this will be a very micro-intensive sort of to determine who comes out ahead. I think it's going to be very micro-intensive.
Yeah, and tactics too, like go to the right place at the right time, counter-attacking, defending, 2v1ing, stuff like that. So we have mirrored build so far, so it's really going to be pure tactics at this point of decision-making. because neither players really diverge. It's 2-gate ankle speed for both players. And yeah.
Both Protosses are sending their first Zealot out. It looks like Wave is actually sending his Zealot towards Biggie, whereas Biggie is sending his towards Izu. So kind of again clockwise kind of positioning, because Andy's also heading towards Wave, and Izu is the only one that's sort of positioning outside of his ramp, but now going towards what seems to be Andy.
And
So
he didn't have enough units, so the Speeding's getting in. This is potentially game-winning battle. Immediately Izu counterattacks because he knows it's too late to defend.
Right.
But actually, Andy has been pooling links, so he should be able to absorb the counterattack, and that leaves us with soon-to-be 4 speed links and a Protoss main. That's a big yikes.
Yeah, Andy's gonna have to divert his attention towards his main and Wave with these handful of links. A lot of APM here being expended. Meanwhile, Biggie is just sitting in this base. Looks like he's teching up even sooner. So Wave's gonna have to do a good job defending this. And Andy here doesn't have a sunken, so he needs to be careful. Andy,
yeah, he's gonna be 2v1 because we see Protoss Zealots coming down here as well.
Right.
But then he's gonna get counterattacked by Biggie, so we get counterattacks all over the place. Kind of hard to call how this is gonna go, but
it's kind of crazy.
But yeah, Andy's definitely in trouble. I mean, he's losing drones alone. Oh, he's gonna have a sunken though. If he can get that up, you can actually carry games by absorbing attacks when it's like this.
Okay, those 2 links should help in this spot. Okay, wow. Picked off the drones. Leaves Andy with 3 drones there. Meanwhile, Biggie trying to infiltrate into Izzy's base, but I think Izzy has it sunken.
Yeah, he also has a sunken. But he did get a drone. That's a drone force right there, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so in one maybe? No, okay, but okay, another counterattack. I mean, more results coming in. Another counterattack up here. So if you can hold the ramp, get 2 versus 2, and then maybe a probe drill. It doesn't look like it, so he's gonna break through here. Wave Zealots are gonna come in here. Just go to town on his probe line, or he could go for the pylon.
Oh, if he gets that pylon, that's gonna be the game. That's gonna be the game-changing moment right there. Oh, it's gonna be close. These Zealots need to pop out. There they go.
Okay, 2 Zealots come out at least, so maybe with speed and reinforcements, if they could arrive here before more Zealots come in, maybe they can make this work.
Now Andy is coming to support, but you gotta think, that's double the Zealot count.
Yeah, and he's still on the pylon, dude. Those gateways are unpowered. So, the longer this goes, the more, you know, Wave is gonna get unit advantage over Biggie.
Right.
Biggie can't take unit. Yeah,
oh
so
man,
this might be it.
Yeah, Biggie's gotta be kicking himself for going such quick tech against the 9-pull opens.
Yeah.
Oh, and Andy calls it GG. Wow.
Do you think maybe he should have, I mean, he was trying to go 3-gate goon, right? Which maybe was a little greedy. You think maybe he should have gone 2-gate goon with like a shield battery instead or something? To smooth that transition over.
I personally think 3-gate Zealots are pretty good against 1-hatch 9-pull mass. I think the decision to make the early gas there is a tough one, because Biggie did decide to go counter Izu, and then Wave very decisively countered Biggie at the same time, which hit him with that 4-to-2 ratio, the 4 Zealot up ramp against the 2 Zealots on top of the ramp in position. I'm gonna like Wave's chances there, you know, every day of the week. So yeah, another sort of game where just -1 decision, Andy and Biggie, they just seem to be one step behind every time against Izu and Wave in this series. So unfortunate outcome there for Biggie and Andy, but yeah, Izu and Wave looking real crisp. I'm good. I'll defer to vOddy.
All right.
Yeah, let's keep going.
All right, so we can see here on the bracket that, of course, Izu and Wave that advance there. And there's no avoiding Sparkle for the next round. So eventually you're going to have to get Sparkle, but...
Yeah, and it looks like so Izu and Wave are gonna advance here, and the next series will be myself and Rancor against Hyssop and Nooblish, I believe.
Yeah, always a bit awkward to commentate yourself, I guess, but I mean, what can you do? Like, you never lost, so you're still here, right? Like, unfortunately, or whatever, you didn't lose yet, so...
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut this game.
Got it. All right, I'm
Yeah,
not going to interview you during the game. I promise.
yeah, it's always weird, but this is my third time around casting for the season 2 of BSL 2 versus 2, and each time I had to cast myself, I believe. So I'm starting to get used to it, but yeah, this tournament's been really amazing. So just taking a look at this bracket here, we have Bonnet and Ziki just waiting in the winners column, and TT1 Kenzie waiting for the losers bracket. So we're getting there, and right now you can see sort of the best of the best, the cream of the crop, the names that we all know, and uh, we'll see kind of who gets to face these final bosses as we get into these games. But so far, I think these games have been really competitive, really high level, and to be honest, I've been learning a lot in just being a caster and a viewer myself. So it's been absolutely delightful, and just really happy with what Zero and the team has been doing with the tournament. So really happy with the results so far.
Okay, let's get into game number 1 on Nixios.
All right.
All right, so we got JIRAIYA up here at the 12 o'clock. Now this is going to be a Zerg Terran versus Zerg Protoss. So JIRAIYA at the top and Ranker at the bottom versus is up here at the bottom as the Red Zerg and Nubish at the top. So spawn positions, of course, can vary a lot on a map like this. You can have really close to your ally or really close to your opponent. And I don't know, like, if there's a racial advantage to one kind of spawn or the other. I have to wonder, like, maybe if some Protoss likes to go for cannons,
Right.
That could be better. I mean, I don't know. I think every race constellation here should have a pretty even chance on any kind of spawn.
Yeah, the mains are big on this map. To me, this map is kind of like the Gaia back in the day.
Yeah.
It plays very much like Gaia. It's a bigger map. It's close spawn positions. In this situation, it's kind of left versus right, so you kind of have an enemy neighbor next to you. But both Zergs here are going to spawn next to each other, and then the associated Terran and Protosses spawn next to each other. I think this type of game, it plays more into like longer, gets into mid-game kind of situations. Protoss is just so far from Rancor, that early pressure that you tend to see, PZ versus TZ, it's a long distance to get there. So it just plays for longer games as a result, because it's hard to kill somebody early. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. And if you ever try to 2v1, you can get countered by air so hard and so quickly when
Right.
you have, left versus right instead of top versus bottom.
Yep.
And I do believe this is a remake of Gaia, isn't it? So, like, at top, right middle and left middle, we should have, like, 3 and 9. We should have some
Yep.
expansions, right?
Yep, there's expansions there, and there's additional rams to get to those bases that also sort of tunnel into the other
nice wall right there.
the mains there.
That's actually a pretty big deal because if you get a probe into your base, it can show so much. I mean, okay, there's already a little bit being revealed because we see the choice being made here to put the second barracks as part of the wall instead of the first barracks. So, I mean, revealing 2 barracks, 2 rats is not really, like, unsurprising, but sometimes people will try to wall off and go fast gas because Terran is so weak for Stimpack in this matchup. So
Thanks very much for the tip there, Flaxon. Rooting for Rancor.
Nice.
To call that out. Nice, very nice.
Yeah, very nice indeed. Thank you very much. Yeah, so we don't see any aggression so far from either Zerg, like you were saying, going into longer games. I mean, it's so air biased in a position like this, right? Like, it's so anti-ground and so pro-air that you have to imagine people are going to go for lair before speed, which is what we're seeing indeed.
Yeah, my biggest nightmare as a Terran player on a map like this is like Reavers and Mutas.
Yeah, for sure. That's such a brutal 2v1 actually. Especially if you're going bio, which of course against Zerg Protoss you're going to. Against Zerg Terran, you're going to see a lot of Goliath and stuff, but in this matchup, bio is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, there's a debate about that, like what's better, bio or mech. I think both styles can play very well. You just kind of have to know how to play them. But me personally, I like going bio.
It's definitely
yeah,
more
they're gonna-
popular, but you can get away with Potomac. Alright, so we see a lot of... I mean... So we have a 2-gate, right? From the red team. 2-gate Forge.
Yep.
And I guess they feel, yeah, so here we go, exactly. Like, you gotta use it for something, right? So they're going for a containment while they are expanding with their Zerg. So that's what's good about this containment right here. Basically making sure...
Yeah, Rancor's going 1 hatch here into layer. They're going to put some pressure onto him. He's got 2 Sunkens here, so he should be okay against any early threat. At the same time, you got to think 1 hatch versus 2 hatch, it's not going to be favorable for you as the game kind of goes. So this is kind of a tricky spot for Rancor, I would say.
Yeah.
Him and his ally needs to play this smart, especially with Nublish here supporting his ally and getting that second base. So
yeah, and I mean, when you have a Terran like this, like Protoss could squeeze in a Reaver if the allied Zerg gets air superior, or even Dragoon Reaver, you can survive that way.
Yep.
And Zerg, of course, is the Mutalisks, but like Terran doesn't really have a way to just go kill somebody by air quickly as a counterattack for a long time, right? So that's a little bit scary for JIRAIYA and Blue and Rancor, I would say.
yeah, absolutely. In a big map like this, we can consider trying to kill somebody, but it's like by the time we get there, the story changes.
Yeah, and attacking into this with bio is just not happening, my friend. Like photon cannons are way too strong.
Yeah.
So at least one Overlord's gonna get killed with this slightly earlier Mutalisk timing from Rancor. But yeah, it is 1 hatch versus 2, so they're gonna have to do something at some point. Oh, and the Scourge chasing out the Mutas. Well, the Mutas got kill drones. I think they got 1 drone. Gonna go for all-out attack here.
The Scourge didn't hit perfectly. Okay. Looks like Hyssop is gonna
the
retreat
Marine
for
shot.
now.
Just to help. So yeah, I mean, just leaving a group of bio here might be like what you have to do, to be honest. Like treating it like a missile turret, essentially.
Yeah, I remember playing this game with Rancor and thinking, wait, how are we gonna live against the Muta? I should probably send you some units.
Yeah, it's really scary, because, like, first of all, obviously, you're down a base. But also, Protoss going for this, like, cannoning to tech style can counterattack with a Reaver at any point, can 2v1 with a Reaver at any point, if that's what he chooses to go for. We do see a Robo here in his ally's base. And he could even sneak in an expansion, because if he gets photon cannons up at his expansion, Bio can't go for that either, right? Bio is just so weak to cannons.
Right.
So we see a scan now, not seeing the Robo because it was placed, at his ally's base instead, which is a pretty smart move.
Right. Yeah, that scan didn't really tell much other than that you can't kill Protoss right now. So I'm kind of probably scratching my head a little bit based on the timing of where we are at this point. That to not see a Citadel makes me kind of wonder what's going on. Maybe there's tech at his ally's base. So still kind of thinking about what's going on, what Protoss is doing, while Rancor kind of builds up his numbers.
Yeah, this 2-gate Forge, it's such a good style. We're seeing it again this game. Oh, so Mito's Grassley getting a drone actually and escaping, so pretty good there by Rancor. Always good to snipe it when we can, but yeah, he's getting his own expansion up at this point. I don't know. I think maybe if you can prevent Protoss from expanding, at that point you could like get your own expansions and play it out. But I think if Protoss gets an expansion, that's going to be like just out of control. 2-base Protoss late game.
Absolutely. One of the tough things to do is to send your army to your ally, not only to support him against Muta, but to just give him cover so that he doesn't die. It really spreads you out pretty thin, and as a result, it's hard for you to put more out onto the map, divide your numbers, and be able to put pressure on like the Protoss from like doing things like planting a Nexus and getting massive. Absolutely top priority not to let Protoss get big. So at this point, as I have enough, I feel more comfortable kind of getting out onto the map and looking for a fight.
Yeah, but unfortunately the cannon's already in time, so it's going to be a 2-base Protoss. This is not really breakable. Possibly a dropship from an elevator could be done because the mains are big, but of course the Reaver's going to come into play now too, which could counterattack, at any point. You just go into the Terran main and kill everything. Okay, so we're gonna actually go for this. Yeah, okay, with the Mutalisks, you could actually 2v1 this. The Mutas tank very well. Alright, so knocking this down. I wonder what's up the ramp. I mean, you could even go on and get that, maybe? I'm not sure you should. So the red Muta's coming in now to defend, and at that point, I guess, you don't want to overcommit. So yeah, I think just knocking down the base is good at least. Because, I mean, not only did you prevent the expansion, but those 4 cannons cost a lot. Those could have been like 4 gateways, right? At the top of the ramp. But now that the Mutalisks for Rancor are gone, you see this Reaver trying to get cheeky to counterattack, but the Marines are there to block. Good reaction to it with Stim, so noticing immediately, trying to zone out the shuttle. Muta might be pretty good. I mean, I imagine we have to see Rankers Mutas return at some point. Yeah, I think that's what we're seeing on the mid-map, so they're coming down to defend now. But the Reavers getting 1 drone, and denying a lot of mining time too. Getting the Spire would be like end of the game, probably, but here come the Mutalisks. And here come the Scourge coming in. Flying over the Marines picking up a few Scourge.
Hissop doing a really good job picking off that vessel before that vessel was able to cast any spells. Really good lands here from the Scourge.
Oh my days, what a save! That was so close, dude. I thought those Reavers would snipe that for sure. But yeah, picking off the vessel, of course, a huge move, but dude, saving the Spire, like, that would have been it right there. So, interestingly enough, you know, a lot of times what we see is like the Zerg kind of going for the supporting role with map control, but then Protoss carries. But we actually see Protoss supporting Zerg with the cannons, because Protoss really hasn't been in this game that much. He's got like, you know, a Reaver, he's got the cannons, but he doesn't actually have units, right?
Right.
So at this point, I have to say the strongest standing army is actually Terran, not Protoss.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Hissop is, you know, it puts more pressure on Hissop to have to do work with his 2-gas Muta.
Yeah.
But as this game kind of goes, you know, with vessels mounting up, and my ally also on 2-gas, and his Muta count mounting up, it's kind of set up well for
another 2v1 coming in here. And we do have a few Marines. I'm not sure we have enough though, because the Reavers, of course, destroy the Marines immediately. But do we have more blue Mutalisks? If so, this is fine. Oh, Irradiate. Oh man, the really good battle. Huge. So is that enough? It looks like it is. It's almost hard to tell how many Mutas there are. Reavers working on the lair while the Mutas are fighting the Mutas. But yeah, I think, okay, more Scourge coming in. Like, just so many Scourge all the time. Connecting even. Some Rancor Scourge coming in, connecting. Just fighting tooth and nail here. But at the same time, okay, we got a counterattack. Oh, dude, this timing. Damn, dude. This, I don't know if you scanned this, or if it was just game sense, but like continuously checking. Because remember what I said, like Protoss can sneak in that expansion, but he has to sneak it in. He can't actually make it for real without units. And just playing whack-a-mole with these expos over and over. So now, I mean, this Protoss, all he has is like a few Reavers, and having to cancel all those cannons. You can actually see Mulish is floating on cash at this point, because he of course got the money back from canceling them. Oh, and this is what I love. When you leave one vessel at your ally, you're kind of like defending against Mutalisks that way. It's a very good anti-Muta tactic. But of course the Reavers, I don't know, they're going to go to 2v1 again.
That's a lot of
And
Scourge.
at this point, we don't have any Marines on the ground, so... Scourge connecting, Irradiate of course helping, but it's just not enough. Well, actually, I think it is. Again, dude! Randor's taken such a beating this game. He's gonna save the lair. One more Scarab.
This guy Rancor is pretty good.
Oh, dude, okay, you know what happened there? So, the Reaver didn't shoot the lair because he didn't have any Scarabs in him.
Oh,
so he couldn't target the unit. So then when the Scarab finished, it like chose its own target and it automatically chose the Marine. And I think maybe it could have gotten that lair actually. I didn't see how much health it had, but it's possible it could have gone out, which would have been huge, but...
Yeah.
Anyway.
If you sneeze on either the lair or the Spire right now, it would die. Let's just
Yeah,
put
it's
it that
so
way.
But yeah, we do have at least a garrison of Marine and 2 vessels even, so you're really taking this seriously now. And Protoss finally going for units instead of cannons, but I don't think this is enough. With the Stim Pack, his Marines should be able to take it, I think. Yeah, they're breaking through, so again, stomping this Expo. And at this point, I mean, the blue team, Rancor and JIRAIYA, they're just ahead on basis, you know? Protoss never
Yeah.
really getting his feet off the ground. Because those repeated 2v1 attempts, they just barely didn't work. Like, the Irradiate was there in time, the Marine reinforcements were there in time, the Micro was there, barely enough to keep him alive, and that's one way to carry games, you know, if you're always absorbing attacks and not dying 2v1,
Exactly.
you're giving time to your ally.
Exactly. I love a Zerg ally who just won't die. They just don't have it in their DNA to die. They'll do whatever it takes. One hatch, mass sling, 5 sunkins, whatever it takes to just survive.
Yeah, whatever it takes,
Those
Micro
are the
Power
Zergs that I love.
Yeah, for sure. We haven't hit an
You
expo
know.
at 3 o'clock, by the way, so is that a Protoss or a Zerg expo? Oh, sick ratings, by the way. One vessel goes down, but I mean, at this point, 2-base Terran, like, trading vessels for radiates like these, I don't even mind, man, honestly.
Yeah, it looks like that might even be a hatchery at the 3 o'clock position. I hope it's a Nexus, because he really needs some money here.
Yeah, for sure. It's a hatch. Oh no. So basically, we don't have a Protoss in this game at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this game, their strategy to really put pressure on Rancor, it was a good strategy. Oh, what's this Terran doing? Wake up.
Big ambush right here.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my days. I mean, this is just like bio in any matchup. If you ambush it, it just dies. Like a big play, you know, run up the lurkers, like storm it. So big ambush there. But
those Reavers. Pretty good unit.
yeah, pretty good unit for sure. But you know, he doesn't have income, so he can't actually make scarabs forever. Funnily enough.
I traded 5 Marines for a Scarab.
Yeah, but finally trying to establish. Okay, we got a bomb Matrix. I mean, yeah, why not? Like, it's pretty good. So they're gonna win the Muta battle for sure. And of course, Protoss doesn't have anything to assist here. It's got a few dragoons that are isolated, and the vessel support is just massive in these Muta versus Muta battles for the Matrix and the Radiate. So this could be a dead Zerg main at this point. I don't know if you have a dropship, but that'd be pretty sick to ferry those Marines you have in. Oh, okay, big counterattack at the same time though. So this is something this Protoss can do while he has income enough to make Scarabs, and he does have that because he's mining his magical. But yeah, okay, so Matrix Mutalisk still slugging it out, just too many, and denying this gas, just camping here. I mean, at this point, we have like a weakened Zerg with a bunch of Matrix Mutas in his base, and a Protoss who's barely establishing one base versus a Terran who could take a third if he wanted to at this point. Yeah, I think this is just too much. Now at this point, of course, if Protoss sends Dragoons to help this, he could easily die to a counterattack, so... We've got Terran units going out at the same time in the middle of the map. Leaving himself open to a counterattack, of course, but honestly, at this point, the main doesn't really have mining, so you don't really expect too much about a counterattack there. You can react all the time. Taking out the Spire is such a knockout move, too. Because I don't even think we have a Kuga, so Zerg basically can only make drones at this point. His up, that is. And yeah, this has to be the final push. So Reaver's coming in here. A tank to counter that, though. Decent Scarabs, but we have rushing the shuttle, not really getting it to get him on Reaver. And he could throw it down a second, yeah, GG.
GG.
So the opening was good with the cannons, right? Like, they got the faster expansion, but then they just kept 2v1ing too hard. And then in order to like try to catch up, you know, the attempt to sneak in an expo without having a Reaver of the cannons was just really risky. But if that hadn't been shut down, like every time, I think it was like 3 times in a row that was shut down. And any one of those times, if they had gone through, we could have actually won the game.
Yeah.
Because 2-base Protoss, like, you have to understand, it's actually so disgusting in 2v2 how strong it is.
Yeah. Yeah, so a lot of credit there to Rancor. Played like a monster. You got to think if his Spire goes down and/or his layer goes down, it's a different story. But like you said, you have 3 strikes, and 3 strikes and you're out.
I mean, he mined out. He kept trying to go for it, and he eventually mined out. So.
3 strikes and you're mined out.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we're ready for the next game. So yeah, loser's team is going to be able to pick a map here.
Alright, so we'll see what they pick. Let's get into it.
Okay, and yeah, they went for the Sparkle. Yep, they're those guys. So Sparkle, of course, is an island on the map with an extra in-base gas that only Zerg can take. So Zerg gets 3 gas, everyone else gets 2 only. And this is a kind of map where, like, if you're prepared for it, you have a massive advantage. It's kind of like knowing wrestling in a fight. Like, if your opponent has no wrestling defense and you are even like a decent wrestler, then no matter how good he is at striking, if you grab him, he's dead. And a map like this is a little bit similar. So hopefully both teams are ready for this. But of course the team that picked it at least has to be ready, right? So the question is, if the Terran Zerg team at the top of Rancor and JIRAIYA is going to be ready versus the Zerg Protoss of Hyssop and Ubish at the bottom.
Yeah, this is definitely a ZP map, and we've said it here before, and we'll say it again. The reason why it's a ZP map is because Protoss is able to get up to Corsair very quickly. In terms of air control associated with a Zerg who goes Muta air, that's why it favors well for PZ. But I've learned on this map, Sparkle, really fun map. It's a really fun map. It's a dynamic map. A lot of different ways you can play it. The way that I kind of see it is you can play really fast. You can play really fast kind of air. You can do double starport raid kind of situations. You can go fast drop Goliath kind of situations and pair that with a fast Muta ally. Or you can play it slow and you can do like a 14cc into maybe Valkyries or something like that.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Where like the weakness of Terran in Tier 2, even on ground maps, is that it takes a while to get going. Like if you're going mech, you gotta get your bolts out. If you're going by, you gotta get spin before you're weak. And it's a little bit similar here, where if you're going Valkyries, it's amazing if you can get them going. They just shit on everything. But it's the slowest air unit to get to out of the core units. Now if you go for keyboard Wraith, you have the cloak early, but they just get massacred by Corsairs later, so I don't feel like that's a long-term composition to be investing in. But at this point, neither player is expanding. I mean, no player's expanding. We have a fast Mutalisk for your ally.
Yep, so that's 9 pool layer from Rancor. That's going to be the fastest layer timing that you can do off of a 9 pool. And it looks like Hyssop here is going to go for the overpool layer, which is going to be a tad bit slower, but a little bit more economically friendly. So we probably will see a quicker second hatch here from Hyssop as a result.
Yeah, so he's taking that Zerg only gas right now.
Yep.
That's a bonus only Zerg gets. And yeah, so not a fast expansion by anyone, but like a moderately fast expansion by Hyssop at the bottom right.
Yeah, and my ally Rancor, he's going to be droning up here. He's looking to get that Spire down as soon as that layer is down, and he's going to be looking to get a second hatch as well. It just won't be as fast as Hyssop's, but his Spire will be faster. So that's kind of the trade-off there between the Zergs. And here in this spot, the Terran player is going for the 2-fact, so that probably will be a start port kind of build, and Protoss is going for the Stargate.
2-fact. So this means we have a commitment to drops, obviously, right? Now, like the main thing as Terran is, are you going to drop or are you going to fly around with air units? And we do have a drop right now. Whereas Protoss has not gone for drops, but has gone for 2-gate Corsair, I have to imagine. Scouts take a long time to get going, just like Valks, because they're only strong once you have speed, and speed requires a fleet beacon. Before then, they just die to Scourge, so rushing Scouts when there's a Zerg in between is not really viable, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, part of the advantage of Protoss on this map is making those Corsairs quickly and then piling them up as you recognize that the other Zerg is sticking to air. Corsairs are obviously going to be well, so... Fleet Beacon I think costs like $300. That's a lot of money. There's no real fit for that.
And then the speed is expensive too at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah.
But one thing we have to keep in mind now is that Protoss is going for Corsairs, and we do have a Terran user here going for drops. And on a map like this, it's really huge. Like we saw this so much in ASL, where like Terran would go air and Zerg would go Hydra Lurker drops. If you can sneak past the air units and find the weakness and get a drop off, it's just over it. Especially with Corsairs, like, because they don't even shoot it down. So. I like this barracks, by the way, because, I mean, this Corsair would have a field day if not for the Marine here, so that's pretty baller, actually.
So, Rancor, my ally, aka the Shepherd, he actually taught me this. He said, hey, I have an idea. JIRAIYA, why don't you give me your barrack? Why don't you help me with this early Corsair thing? Now, he does lose an OV here.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. It's not the most effective idea. I definitely could have done a better job here, but it was an interesting creative thought that I actually did not, it was not originated by me. Rancor actually gave me the ideas.
Very good. It did save one overwork though. Okay, so here's the first dropship. Now here's what I was talking about. Like, if this dropship drops into Protoss, we have a cannon. He seems to know that this is a factor, but I don't think that cannon's early enough. And like, it's not easy to catch a dropship like this, because even if you're looking for it, you don't know what path it's going to take. And at this point, the Mutant is going to show up, but the Allied Mutant are there too, so basically 2v1, because the Corsairs don't really help in this situation. They can't hit the Mutalisks, I suppose.
Yeah, kind of an awkward situation right now. As the cannons finish,
the cannon does finish, though.
Get back. Yep. Now,
So at this point, they're safe. Yep.
yeah, just looking to trade against the Muta at this point. Rancor's just trying to save what he has over there. Obviously, this drop did not achieve what we were looking to achieve, and typically you want to have 4 Goliaths in a drop.
Yeah.
This Terran player just doesn't know the right build. Maybe those Marines costed him, but in any case, 3 is not the number you're looking
Okay,
for.
and we have another sneaky dropship here. I was just thinking, like, maybe you want to like put some Goliaths in your allies' base because
Right.
he's going to get supply blocked or control blocked, but instead we have this sneaky counterattack, and this could be huge. I mean, so again we have the red team, his up Nubis, trying to like patrol the middle, looking for this, but it's just so hard to catch. So another attack goes through, killing a few drones. Scourge trying to chase on the Mutas, no connection so far. And okay, catching Corsairs could be huge. 1, 2,
Nice pick off.
okay.
Nice pick off.
And I think the dropship got away, so that's a really big deal. The dropship, yeah, lives to ferry another day. But I'm a little bit scared for like a 2v1 on the blue Zerg Rancor right here, because
Right.
if he loses Overlords, that's a knockout move right there, and we don't see any Goliaths here, as the Goliaths have been used to go for these kind of costly sneak attacks instead.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, he's gonna die now, and he's caught out of position, 2v1, gonna go for a desperate counterattack, but there are 2 cannons in the Protoss main, so I'm not sure if this is gonna work. Okay, they're gonna get taken out by the Mutalisks. 2 dropships following up with the Goliaths. So we have a base trade here for sure. And I don't know what to focus on here. Like, I guess you try to kill as many probes as you can. The Dragoons, though. Okay, so they're gonna buy a lot of time if they want to go save this. But it looks like they're not really going for that. Instead, we do have a commitment to the base trade here. Also, if these cannons go up, that could be huge.
Right.
Looks like they're gonna get scouted here by 2 Mutalisks. And yeah, I mean, that cannot be tolerated. So the Corsairs coming home to defend, but there are Goliaths there, and the Goliaths cannot really be dealt with by Corsairs. So at this point, what are you thinking as Hyssop here? I mean, you don't really want to play out a... I guess you can play out a 1v1, because Zerg on this map isn't really the same as Zerg on others. Like, you could take your third and play a macro game. But these cannons have finished, and that means it's not actually a 2... I mean, it's a 2v1 in the other direction, eventually. Where Hyssop and Nubis, the red ones, they do actually own catch in the dropship, yeah. Huge. Although he doesn't... Okay. Alright, there we go. Kind of catching it. Finally.
Yeah, so those Goliaths are going to be able to range some of those probes, the majority of those probes. So the idea here is to try to weaken Protoss and keep him weakened as much as possible. Hyssop here trying to trade against these Goliaths.
Okay, so the position has held, and for now, if you hold this high ground, it's not a 2v1, it's a 1v1. But the problem is, if you're trying to hold, like, you gotta defend your own base, as Terran here. But you also gotta defend this position so that Protoss can't get back in the game.
Exactly.
While Zerg is getting Mutalisks, so eventually the Zerg can choose to either go for the Terran main or save his ally, because Terran, like the Goliath user, has to spread out, and the Zerg doesn't.
Right.
So I don't really see this holding forever. Okay, so we do have a bit of a renaissance here. Only 1 sport though, so I don't think, yeah, that's gonna get shut down. Just playing whack-a-mole here.
Yeah, it's worth noting, Rancor was left with 500 minerals when they basically killed him, and he retained his Spire. So that entire time when I was dropping Protoss, he was building up what he can, Spore, etc., etc. So I wouldn't count Rancor out just yet, and definitely doing what he can, but at this point, there's not much he can do without support.
This is a big deal though, because at this point, like I was saying, how you have to hold 2 positions, right? Your main and the Protoss base. Okay, and we have some good reinforcements here actually, so I guess you're not hold 3 positions, but kind of pulling it off so far. But anyway, the thing is, okay, it's a good thing these are empty, because that's a... No? Okay, he
You
wasn't
stay
looking.
perfectly still,
Okay, there we
they
go.
can't see you.
Alright, so he's gonna catch these, luckily empty. But as I was saying, like, if you have to hold 2 positions and Zerg can like mass mutas can go take it 1 position. It doesn't really work as easily when there's a 3rd position he has to control to, because he's gonna have to go check on Rancor. Because if he leaves Rancor alone, Rancor gets back, which means you can hold this position more easily. So Muta's coming in here to try to clean up. Do we have enough? No, we don't even have enough, and Rancor's 1 Muta coming in even to help. And at this point, I mean, you have expanded, so it's kind of looking 2v1 at this point. A little bit, because I do feel that Rancor is more in the game than Newlish. Whenever Rancor is left alone, he just sneaks in some drones, and if he can sneak in like 3 spores, he's actually safe for real. Especially with these Goliaths you put there, you know.
Right, and you know, the decision from Rancor to basically sacrifice himself and say, hey, I'm dead here, but I have this army, let's do what we can and hit Protoss, that decision from Rancor was really what got us into this position.
That secured this high ground position right here. That's been holding for so long. It's only now is getting cleaned up. But the only reason this is getting cleaned up is because you chose to put Goliaths as Rancor's top right instead of this.
Yep.
And that, of course, means he's back in the game. So, I mean, I guess both players are back now. Like, we're back to a 2v2 at this point. Because, you know, Newlish has his main back. And, oh, did you not take out the Nexus? So, he actually... yeah, okay, so we actually have 2 with Protoss. Now, obviously, taking that out would have been sweet, but it's not that easy to do, because you would have to... I mean, you could have done it with all the Goliaths, but then that gives him mining at the natural, and if you send 1, it gets picked off, so not really an easy call there. Anyway, huge dropship sneaking by, getting scouted by the Overlord. But this might be too many, actually. I don't think that's enough Mutalisks. Well, we don't have Goliaths in every dropship, so it could be enough. Especially with the drones at the same time. Yeah, okay, if those all of them full, this might have been a killing blow, but as it is, not really gonna kill. A few drones going down, though, weakening an already suffering Zerg economy.
Yeah,
I did
nice
see like 2 or 3 drones. Alright, so Protoss is back to Corsairs, and I don't know, I mean, I feel like if you have Goliaths, it might be a good idea to take an island base, because what you could do is like get turrets there, right? I don't know if you have to look to the future, because like Corsairs are good at fighting units, but they don't shoot down, so if you take island base, they become useless eventually. So that might be like the future plan for the Zerg Terran team here. Second starport going up. Now this could be for Valkyries. Valkyries are pretty good, or it could be just to make dropships, I'm not sure. We have an expansion, by the way, at the middle, top middle. So I imagine there has to be a command center. Yeah, right, exactly. If you actually sneak up some turrets there, this is not going to happen. Okay, no, I thought it was going to get caught, but if you do that, it's like actually really huge. Then it costs a lot to take out.
Right.
And we only have Corsairs with Protoss still, I have to imagine. So expansion gets found. Yeah, he still is making Corsairs. If you want to continue going air, at some point you have to actually go into, I know it sounds crazy, but either Sneak Scouts or Carrier Corsair are like your main options. And for Zerg, we might actually see some Ensnare eventually at this point.
Yeah, Ensnare plays well, Greater Spire plays well, especially with Zerg getting that 3 gas accessibility. You can play things like Hive Tech, Spire.
Yeah, we have a 3rd base being taken by his of the Red Zerg. And not really the same from Rancor. Rancor's still taking a beating, so he seems to be a little bit behind in drones and stuff. 4 Goliaths, not really enough, so raiding the space again. Might even take out the, okay, pretty good snipe there with the skirt connections, but this hatchery might even get taken out. A 3rd base coming up for Terran, which will be securable. If you just drop some Goliaths there and put some turrets up, you're gonna have it, but I'm feeling a little 2v1 at this point, unfortunately. Okay, so trying to drop Protoss, but getting intercepted here. So forced to drop in the middle, and taking out actually a few of those units. But at any point, if you leave this alone, you could just go drop, but they're not going to do it now. They're probably going to be circling this. So since your Goliaths are basically stuck here, I'm wondering if you're going to send the command center at this point, down here.
Right.
Possibly take this, since you can kind of like defend and threaten an attack at the same time.
Yeah, I find it on 2 base on this map. You end up, you can't spend your minerals. It's real tough because it's gas limited, and you have like a lot of FPVs, so it's worth making those CCs.
Oh, catching that dropship.
Ooh,
huge.
Nice catch.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, like, if you can ever start spamming turrets at an expo, it's really good because you're gonna be floating minerals, like you said. Goliath the dropship, you don't have enough gas. You're gonna have a mineral bank. So missile turrets really are the way to, and command centers, of course, the way to equalize that.
Right.
So still only Corsairs for Protoss, and I mean, they definitely have air superiority, but like if Terran ever lands on a base and fortifies it, it's just going to be held forever.
Yeah, I think they have the right idea, using the map to their advantage. It gets tricky when Terran is going dropships, when there's a ton of air things on the map, Scourge, Corsairs, and Mutas alike. So I think the idea is right, because it makes it harder for Terran to be offensive. So
yeah, for sure, it's definitely good in this position too, because the blue Zerg Rancor is so weak right now. He's been taking such a beating that it's basically just against Terran, right? And a Terran with dropships and Goliaths only has to spread himself out, and then you can just send all your Mutalisks and Corsairs against Mutalisks to one point. So we're gonna need like a ton of turrets to stop that, and possibly even Valkyries if you go into that. Although yes, we have the first Valk now, getting taken out unfortunately. But if you can get like 8-10 Valks, you're just gonna shit on all of these Corsairs and Mutas, and that I think has to be the win condition. So we have actually double expansions going up for Terran. And again, if those get fortified with turrets, it almost doesn't matter how weak the Zerg ally is, because Terran could just 1v2 at this point, if he can keep these bases. And I don't think this one's going to be able to be kept. We're going to need to see some reinforcements here. This is what I was talking about, where, I mean, this even happens in 1v1, right? Where Terran going mech gets isolated, picked off.
Right.
So this base, unfortunately, going to fall. We have 2 starports though, so I don't know if you're still trying to go for Valkyries, but if you could get that, that could be your salvation. Main base mining out, so no longer really floating on minerals, so we can't really go for the turret spam anymore.
Right. Yeah, and at this point of the game, to transition into Valks, non-upgraded against upgraded units.
Right, +2 carries units,
yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough. So, interestingly enough, we're actually seeing a Zerg carry. We don't usually see that in TV2, but
right, exactly.
I have to say that his is the carry here, with his 4 gases, by the way, which is insane. And then the Protoss Corsairs are basically just there to make sure that Zerg has air superiority against the other weakened Zerg, so that his can dominate the Terran with Mutalisks. But the base miraculously was held, actually, and we have a counterattack here. And a lot of these red Mutalisks, they died, so if we have enough Goliaths on the ground, the Corsairs can't really help. Just insane. If you're gonna make this comeback here, we have 1 Sunken. Sunken's of course extremely strong against Goliaths, but we still have an exposed expansion to the left. You could go raid, possibly. And the gas expansion, of course, also. Okay, does Goliaths need to back off? Being a little bit spread out here. At the very least, this attack is buying time for the expansion to get fortified. And a big raid at the bottom here, killing all the drones with the Mutalisks. I can't believe this one base Zerg is finding ways to be useful. That's so huge, actually.
Yeah, it's
drones.
definitely worth noting the amount of value that Rancor is able to get with the units that he has producing off of one base is definitely a huge factor here in making these drops effective.
Yeah, when you feel like you are the stronger Zerg, you have 4 gas, you're dominating air to air, you got your Protoss buddy to make sure you never lose a fight. It makes you so confident you don't get spores, and that leaves you vulnerable to these raids.
Right.
Like if you have a drop you're trying to catch, right, full of Goliaths, then you're not defending your base, and then the one base Zerg comes in and kills all your drones.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so it's so imperative on this map to be really coordinated with your ally, because I think more so, like it's acutely more so on this map because there's so much risk when you're making these moves that it needs to be coordinated in order for it to be effective.
Yeah, and that coordination, of course, can take the form of 2v1ing, or sending your ally first to like lead the enemy so they chase him and then you go in.
And
but we have carriers coming in, and if you get enough carriers, they're pretty good, especially against against a meching Terran going Goliaths. That's almost like a win condition. So getting this attack here, I hope we have enough Goliaths. I don't know how many Mutalisks we have, but we did weaken the Red Zerg a bit. Photon cannons being a bit of an issue though. But yeah, attacking before critical mass carriers definitely a big deal, and I think this might be it. We don't see a response from Hyssop. I'm not sure he has enough. Okay, he's counterattacking, that's why, but at this point, I have to say that Hyssop's counterattack is not as deadly as this massive death ball right here, taking out everything.
Yeah, we elected for the 2 versus 1 option. Again, my ally Rancor said, you know what?
Again, yeah, just
I'm
take
dead.
it.
Here's my army.
Yeah, we saw that before with the first attempt where you were able to establish the Goliaths on the high ground over the natural and clean sweep 1 for a while. He sacrificed himself, and again, same maneuver, like, I'm just gonna lose stuff, but we have this one attack we need to go for. And totally the right call at this point, because you cannot let carriers get out of control, it's just not an option.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, who knows what would happen a minute, 2 minutes if that attack was somewhere else, or maybe defensive.
Okay, this is a little bit scary. Alright, so trying to fortify that base, getting zoned out by the Red Mutalisks. I mean, if Goliaths land there, that's like pretty doomish for the red team. Because we don't really have a Protoss, so I would say at this point with the standing Mutalisk of Rancor, it's actually 2-1, and the lost attack here, that has to be GG.
GG.
Dude, like the amount of maneuvering in 2v2, especially on an island map, like it's actually insane. It favors the attacker so much because you like, if you act later and you're coming in to try to defend when there are units in your base already, it just doesn't work, you know. So it's a very hectic game mode where you're always trying to attack, or you know, if you can catch a drop too. But the point is, you always have to be doing something. You have to be active on the map.
Exactly. You never want to be a step ahead, step behind. Ever.
Yeah, it's actually kind of like a fighting game where like you gotta be doing something with your units to create value, like fishing for a drop, attacking, try to catch units. Because if you're not doing anything, you're not creating value, and your opposing team is.
Exactly. Yeah, those little drops, even though they didn't do much, they're almost like little jabs at them, just to kind of see how they would respond to it. And then when we see them respond that they did, we know what to do in terms of a counter. Like Rancor and I, we were like, if they go U, we're gonna go P. That's just what we're gonna do, and be ready.
It's a dangerous game to play, but it can pay off. Where say you have your main army, and then you send like one dropship to one corner and one dropship to another. And if they catch either dropship and they overcommit and chase it with everything they have, it leaves an opening for you to counterattack where they didn't go. So you're spending, like, you're risking a few units to do that, right? Where if they're playing perfectly, it's not going to work because they're just going to send like a few units to catch it. But the thing is, nobody has map pack, and you cannot just play perfectly and just defend, because eventually you're going to like let the units. I mean, it could be a drop that lands on island, or it could be, you know, a one-base Zerg coming in with Mutalisks, killing all your drones because you missed one area and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like a fine balance of what you need to do. Like some spots you have to do like 50% allocation, and some spots it needs to be 100.
Yeah.
And in our from where we were, it was 100%. We need to throw everything.
That lost attack for sure.
Yeah.
But you actually set it up with some maneuvering because they were chasing other stuff. But anyway, it looks like we have the next map. We're ready to go into it. Or are we gonna take
Yeah, I'll do the brackets just real quick. So we're gonna have the brackets updated here. So myself and Rancor are gonna advance to the next round, and again, the bottom portion of this bracket here is the losers portion. So Rancor and I are gonna be the team to play against Banana and Linden to get to the winners of the previous matchup, or the first matchup that we had between Izu and Wave and Andy and Biggie. So that's just sort of where we are in terms of the brackets. And yeah, so we're gonna get into our third match here. vOddy, did you want to take a break, or how are you?
I was just watching, just checking the vibe checking. You know.
Okay. Yeah, I'll defer to you. I'm good to go.
Okay, yeah, I'm ready to go into the game if we are.
Okay, cool.
All right, so it's going to be the winners of the previous ones going on.
All right, so we're going to have another best of 3. Okay, so this is going to be a best of 5.
Right, and at this point we have JIRAIYA Rancor to the right, and actually to the left, sorry, and Banana and B Linden. So finally not cross positions on this Python-like map, which is going to change a lot. Now the Terran team, Zerg Terran, I don't know, like, I mean, you're the Terran user, so you tell me if I'm right, but as a Terran, I always feel happy when I'm close to my ally and there's a strong enemy team because, uh, you take a while to get going, so you don't really have
Yeah.
map control early, and of course,
Yeah.
cross positions means map control is more important,
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. When my ally, my Zerg ally, is close to me and not in a cross position, I feel better because he's close to me. So I have the option to go help him if he needs me. So I just feel better with him being close. Whereas cross spawn, I'm not as happy. The idea there is more of a counter style because it's harder for me to go
Sweet
help
for
them.
Terran, yeah.
Yeah, it also gives me a little bit of just poise for my ally and the pressure that's gonna, more often than not come due to that sort of dynamic. Whereas here, we're on the same side. That means that they're further away. So there's more mobility for us to join or
For sure,
whatever. For
yeah.
me to
So you're not going to
there.
get Reaver countered, but if you do, your ally can help you immediately, right? And also,
Exactly.
Terran has like a strong mid game. Like, if you're going Bio, for example, when you have Stim Pack, but Protoss doesn't have Reaver Storm. Or if you're going Mech, like when you have two fact Speed Force with mines and they don't have observers. So that mid game means that you can stand at one point on this map and deny both expansions from the enemy, which is pretty good in the mid game. But yeah, we have 2 racks here, getting scouted by the Protoss. So we can like Bio again, which is of course more popular, I would say, against a Zerg Protoss than Mech.
Yep.
And
Yep.
no fast gas, so this might be like, okay, actually 9, we got a 1 base speed versus basically a 2 actually gasless at this point, which I have to imagine is like mass Zerging, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's continuing to mine gas, so it's going to be a later spire, but absolutely, he's going to make lings, he's going to get that speed, and he's looking to make something happen.
Yeah, so no one really rushing Mutas, and that might be because you're not close to your opponents. Like,
Right.
rushing Mutas is of course better when you're close to your enemy, and doing something else, like, obviously better at this point. So, 9 speed is check, or I don't know if it's 9 but basically 1 hatch speed is checking what's up. He knows he's gonna be behind in Larva, so I'm interested to see what he goes for in order to. Yeah, it's gonna be a fast spire instead, exactly. Just doubling down on his advantage, which is gonna be tech here, versus of course a Larva in production. And this sunken colony, this is because specifically he has a Terran ally. Terran is actually so weak early on. Like if you walk out before Stim and there's speed on the links, you just die.
That's
You don't
right.
have anything. So we do see a move out very bravely here, to try to counterattack possibly, or maybe try to do a bunker rush. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, what's that guy doing?
I mean, yeah, this is a brave maneuver here. I gotta say, Black Sun tipping again because Rancor advanced. So there we go.
Rancor's biggest fan. Thanks
Yeah,
very
for
much,
sure.
Mike Dunn, for your support.
All right, and we see him. We got Rancor down here holding down the fort 2v1. Pretty good. Definitely not gonna die here, but what might die is this group of Marines here about to face off against Speedlings. I don't know what's up with that, to be honest, but I mean, maybe he can take the ramp here. So the Micro is pretty good so far against Zella. Taking it down, and gonna go to work on these probes. So 1 probe, 2 probes. Okay, I gotta point out, like, a Terran counterattack pre-Stim actually working, hitting probes. That is some crazy stuff right there. I mean, that just means, like, you knew. Like, even though my units are trash, I know I can counterattack right now. And it actually worked, so good job. But this is a counterattack, by the way. Speaking of counterattacks, he could go for the cannon, doesn't. Instead goes for the run-by, goes for the drones. Of course, the classic, 1 drone goes down, 2 drones.
Drones, nice.
Big deal, of course. This is always what you try to do when you have later Mutalisks than your enemy. You always try to, like, delay them or cause damage like this. And 1 more, maybe? No, but 2 drones, still a really big deal. And at this point, of course, the elephant in the room is, what are we going to do about these Mutalisks? Like, how are we not going to die? So, we're going to have a Marine Medic Garrison into Spores, I have to imagine. It's going to be the plan.
Yep, so kind of like what we talked about early on, allies next to me, feeling comfortable, I can go help them out. This is one of those situations.
Yeah, and keep in mind, this is 1 hatch Mutalisk, so this amount of Marines is definitely enough to hold that off for, like, minutes at this point. While, 4 or 5 turrets in Terran main should also be enough. Funny side, no, okay, he cancelled it. Ops, okay. Oh, so that's what he's
Oh,
going
he
to
already had a core.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, what's up with that? So he's going for DT. Now, you have an option which is like either Dragoon Reaver or you go DT, basically. And he's choosing the DT option. And this positioning is probably so that if he gets scanned, it's not as likely to be seen. I have to imagine is the idea behind that.
Right.
And yeah, we do see a scout here. We're gonna see these cannons. So yeah, I mean, these cannons are a little bit out of position. Maybe I'm not sure if they. Okay, all right. Could maybe see like a speeding run by at some point because of that. Even +1 melee. We still don't have a lair, guys. So, all right. We're gonna have to see like irradiate most likely to deal with the enemy Mutalisks, and then just like a lot. Okay, now we have a lair finally. So we are gonna see some Mutalisks eventually from Rancor. But at this point, I'm thinking like you have map control with Mutalisks, right? Because Rancor doesn't have any.
Right.
So I'm thinking, and you're also going DT. This to me screams expanding with cannons. Because you went DT instead of Reaver, right? Yeah, and we actually have that. So use the map control with your faster tech, take an expansion, and that's going to be scary. Terran can try to take his own expansion, but Protoss just kind of goes out of control. Because like if you're trying to play bio with like Irradiate and stuff and like storm dodging, versus a 2-based going into 3-based Protoss, it just kind of becomes impractical eventually.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. Not all bases are created equal. Protoss on 2 base just feels a little bit different, but yeah, absolutely. I think in this spot, you know, Protoss Banana TQ is doing exactly what he needs to do. Make that second base. He knows that Terran sent his initial army to his Zerg ally, which means that whatever he has to put out onto the map is going to be that much thinner. So great response here from Banana. He's already up to that 2 base. He's going to be on 2 gas, and Rancor looks like he's just planting his spire now.
Yeah, so I don't know. This is I'm trying to think of like what Terran and Zero can do. JIRAIYA and Rancor, like what do you do in this position? Because you can't really deny the expansion. There's too much map control. Protoss can just send 1 DT at a time. He's getting cannons. The Mutalisks are a problem. You don't have any of your own. Maybe like you could have done like a speedling denial of the expansion to force the Mutalisks to stay there, but
Yep.
I don't know. At that point, like, the Mutalisks just kind of go there, and then you still can't do. We have a DT, by the way. Do we have a scan? Yeah, we do have a scan. So kind of one-shot 2 Marines. The DT doesn't. Okay, it does, dude. When the DT barely doesn't die,
That's
like,
close.
that's a scary thing. But
Yeah, I don't know why
unable
this
to take an
Terran player.
expansion. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't know why this Terran player didn't have a turret already over there, but
Another
yeah,
scan being forced out, the DT gets away. That's gonna delay the expansion even more. I mean, you're probably looking to expand it for the vessel at this point. Against the Mutalisks. I don't know, like we're gonna have to see like a Muta explosion from the Red Zerg Rancor here for there to be any chance here. Protoss, you know, is gonna get stormed like 7 Gate, Dragoon Templar, it's gonna be insane. And see these gateways coming up now.
Yep.
And no expansion in sight. And keep in mind, the expansion wouldn't even be equal. But I mean, 2 base versus 2 base is playable, but 3 base versus 3 with bio is kind of not. But at least in 2 base versus 2, you still have a chance.
yeah.
So if there were an expansion to come out for Terran, we'd still have a game in our hands. But I mean, have fun for an Expo with like Mutas harassing you, with DTs harassing you, and even a Dark Archon eventually.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the trade-off. If Terran is planning to expo sooner, then he's gonna have slower vessels, and if you have slower vessels, good luck against those things. So,
precisely, yeah.
So yeah, in this spot, I think you know, Protoss is just gonna remain poised as they are right now, just sort of defending themselves, fortifying the defense, double big
those
red
Dark Archons.
tomatoes.
Like, you know how Terran leaves a vessel as anti-muta everywhere? He's doing that with Dark Archons.
Exactly.
That's really badass, actually.
Yeah.
Even stronger in some ways, because you have the potential to kill everything.
Yeah, because at this timing, it's like, okay, Terran and Zerg, they've been just making units off of 1 base each. They're probably going to try to attack somebody. Why not make this big red tomato that can really shut down at least the mutas? It can also shut down big balls of bio.
Marines too, yeah.
Yeah, it's just unlimitless to
So,
how much value you can get.
Finally, the vessel comes out, and immediately harassment stops. Like, that's like the stop sign.
Yeah.
But Protoss already expanded. You know, they're up a base. He even he's taking the island expansion at this point. Like, and really, like, bio is weak to cannons. you're not charging cannons. You're just not doing that. So at this point, like, I feel like Banana and Beelan have just outmaneuvered their opponents getting into this position.
Yeah, unless there are some miracle EMPs or irradiates, which, you know, who knows if that's going to happen. It'll be real tough here for Zerg.
Yeah, maybe there would be like an elevator timing, possibly into the main 2v1. That could be one way to come back. I don't see an expansion from Terran yet, so no. Okay, all right. Looks like we might have having it soon. Having this, and we do have an expansion from Ranker at the bottom, right? So catching up in bases at least, because the blue Zerg of Banana and Linden, they don't actually have an expansion. It's a one base Zerg at this point. Full support.
They gave up map control just to, you know, continue to fortify their defenses, which in this spot I think is very wise because the Dark Archons are really the X factor here. The positioning of Nana's Dark Archon in front of his natural, sort of being out in front. The purpose of that is to feedback the vessels.
Yeah.
Because it's feedback, the reaction of the feedback is very, very fast. So even if I see it and scan it and try to get the EMP off, he can charge that.
So that means you cannot actually irradiate Templar, because if you try to do anything, bam, you're dead.
Right.
Oh, you should go for it. Okay, got an EMP. So no feedback for you. And then I think he stormed his own Dark Archon there, but anyway. Okay, so trying to get some Muta snipes here. One Templar goes down. Muta's on top of the Mutas, but we could have an irradiate here. I mean, at this point, okay, big storm, but kind of dodged a little bit. Not really like a huge storm. So at this point, Protoss hasn't really kicked in yet. Map control still goes to Zerg Terran, which is actually okay if you're taking the island base, which they were ready to do. So I don't know why they were out here on the map, really. They didn't really need to. I mean, you have the cannons, you have Protoss, who's going to become a scary monster later, and you have an island base too, so not sure why they needed to be out there, to be honest.
Yeah, not the best trade, I would say, for either team. Kind of middling, because he retained one of the two Dark Archons. That's quite good for Protoss.
Oh, big names from right there.
Yeah.
But no storm to follow it up, so a lot of these Marines are actually going to emerge alive. Okay, but overall though, like, okay, if you have an even trade when you're behind, which I have to say you were, because you had later expansions and then Protoss is going to become insane.
Yep.
An even trade is like really good if you're behind, so I consider that a win.
No, actually it's the opposite. If when you're behind, you wanna trade like 2-to-1, not.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, because to your point, exactly right. There's nothing Zerg Terran can do here really to do anything about that third base. So for them to have retained a Dark Archon, the goons or whatever, he's got all those gateways, and now Terran has to reset his army, and he's already behind. You know, from a worker count perspective, we're at 32 versus 50. Prior to that, it was like 27 versus 46. So in this spot, the follow-up is going to be so much stronger for.
Yeah, I mean, we're going into 3-base Protoss, so even despite that, they're still pretty dominant. But I'm just saying, like, they didn't have to fight at all. Yeah, and the army would have become even more strong. Right, it's a death ball, like the bigger it gets, the more relatively superior it becomes. So. Kind of like how Protoss wants to trade against the Terran Death Ball if you don't have carriers on the way, or like Telsa Arbor or something. I have to imagine.
Really nice pickoffs. Really nice pickoffs on the high support there from Rancor. It's gonna really make me feel more comfortable attacking Protoss with this +2. Bit uncoordinated here.
So I mean, there aren't any Templar, which means this Marine Medic can actually. I don't know if it's going to be enough, even so. Okay, more Templar sniping, by the way, so no Storm. But that they'd leave the Marines to fend for themselves, and they did die to set up Muta.
Yeah. Oh, man. The upgrades on Banana's units are also very strong. 2-1 upgrades. That's going to do very well against 0-2. Or +2-0 for the turn.
So, I was questioning the decision to walk out early on. Like, why not just, like, max out and then go win? But maybe it's good, because if you play linearly in that way, if you just sit there and max out, your opponents could like double expand or something, and then maybe Zerg could even go Hydro Lurker or something. Like you could do it if you have a lot of vessels to radiate the Mutas.
Yeah.
So I guess keeping the pressure up and not letting the opponent rest did work out after all.
Yeah.
And they're gonna take game 1 here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the mistake. I think the biggest mistake, and Rancor and I immediately kind of talked about it, was the fact that we decided to play as passive as we were. We really can't allow the Protoss to get this big. We can't let him take a free base like that. So the decision to send at my ally the the MM early on probably wasn't the best choice. We would have been better served having those bio out onto the field and potentially, stopping Protoss from taking that base.
Right, because if Protoss cannons up and then goes tech, basically you want to make your enemy earn the expansion, right? Make him have to send the DPs.
Yep.
And then if you still have scans, he can't even expand, right? Don't let him sneak up the cannons.
Yep. GG.
GG. But still well played, I have to say. From Linden and Banana.
Yeah, so Banana and Linden will take game 1 of this best of 5 series. We shall see what myself and Rancor pick next.
Yes, that we will.
So while we get ready for the next game here, just to talk a little bit about the players. Banana, he is an American Protoss player, but he plays random as well. In tournaments, he plays Protoss. Very veteran of the game, has been playing 2 versus 2 for a very long time, very seasoned. It's actually number 1 in the rankings on 2 versus 2 shield batteries. So high level player there, and his ally is Linden, a Swedish player, also a 2 versus 2 vet. So very challenging and very strong team. So just a little bit there. And myself, the Terran here, my ally, a German player, Rancor, who's been playing 2 versus 2 for a very long time as well. So a lot of 2 versus 2 experience in this series as we get to game 2.
All right, let's get into game 2.
Whenever you're ready. All right. Let's get into match 2.
So Paradiso, which I believe is essentially a remake of Dante's Peak, right?
Yes.
Is the map chosen here. And we got the Terran, JIRAIYA at the top left here, Mr. Red. And his ally is going to be spawning in opposite, which you have to be a little bit unhappy of, I think, as Terran, right? Against Zerg Protoss.
Yep.
So that's a little bit unfortunate. I mean, it's playable for sure, but, you prefer to be close together. You prefer to not emphasize map control early on so much as the Terran, because you do have that weak early game. But yeah, anyway, B Linden as the Zerg here, the green, at the top right, and his ally going to be the Protoss Peach here at the bottom left.
Yeah, and another thing too is that's the bottom right position for Rancor. That's one of the tougher spots too. Your creep accessibility to your ramp, it's not quite there. It's not what it is on the bottom left for the top right position.
Right.
It's kind of like top left. So even from a spawn location standpoint,
basically worst possible spawns you could get.
Now I will say, yeah, I mean for sure. I mean we're not feeling as good, but one thing I will note though, like I said, kind of like last game. So the mindset is in cross map, you really need to be able to defend.
1v2,
yeah, exactly. In isolation like this, you can't rely on. Otherwise, your Terran is forced to have to do 4 Marine move outs just to get their attention away from full tilt pressure. So that's kind of what we attempted to do last game, which kind of worked out. And then, kind of the mindset here as well. Just same kind of mindset, 1 versus 2, Zerg, and then Terran just kind of think about what to do with the move out.
Right, so it looks like we're going to see another 2 racks here. So it's going to be Bio once again, which hasn't been scouted yet. Because we have a pretty cheeky SCV blocking the ramp for as long as possible, but JIRAIYA here. Going to block out this probe. Okay, he did see it. Okay, he knows. He got far enough up to see it. But at least preventing any harassment there. 2-gate follow-up. Of course, we could see 2-gate forge or 2-gate gas. Basically are the main issues here. And again, with a 2-hatch versus a 1-hatch. So 2-hatch, I believe, is better when you're going to be 1v2ing, right? Because you're going to have more larva, more sunkens.
Right.
Especially when you can't take your ramp, you're going to need a lot of stuff. And he's not even trying to creep to it, he's just accepting he's going to have to defend this in the main.
Yeah, so this is a direct 9 pull from your upstairs neighbor coming straight down to you, and you're going 11 hatch, so your pool is going to be late, which is why he's going for the sunken right away.
Right. However, it has to be said, 11 Hatch is a lot safer than 12 Hatch. You can see the sunken is actually up in time.
Right.
Kind of. Oh, do you see those eggs, by the way? The eggs are blocking. And here's the
Oh
thing.
yeah, I didn't even notice that.
You can control your larva, but you can only set them to the left. So if you
Right.
select an overlord and the larva and you press stop, they'll go to the left, and that's very useful for blocking stuff like that. So actually amazing SimCity right there
Interesting.
by Rank. Very good job. Alright, so the containment, of course, going up here. Now, 2-gate Forge lets you, like, hard contain the Zerg if you want, but he's not going for that, so he's going for the gas. Nonetheless, the main advantage of a 2-hatch, of course, is mass speeding, and what you want to do when your opponent has faster mutas, you of course want to go and delay it. But this containment's going to prevent that, unless you have like a very costly drone drill. That's really the only way to get out. But even if you go for that, we actually have a defensive cannon at the top right, so Linden and Banana are cannoning up a little bit. Which is smart, I think, because you have the tech advantage. So cannon plus faster tech is a good, combo. And he's also getting gas himself, so I'm also going to go for that tech. And you know what we could actually see here? We could see a Reaver, because when you know the opposing Zerg has no Mutalisks, or at least inferior, like later Mutas, that does create a Reaver timing to go kill either the Zerg or the Terran. It is risky though, because you're going to have to contend with the Mutaling, only having Dragoon Reaver if you go for that.
Right.
But it's definitely an option. We haven't seen it yet, we've mostly seen Templar tech. So Spire going down here by Ranker pretty early on things considered. You think you could get away with not having Spore Colonies at this point?
I mean, it's going to be really tricky. This is sort of the fine balance of teching yourself and defending yourself. We'll see
only
what
one
develops.
Sunken here too, but he has been spamming a lot of links, so maybe that one Sunken can be enough. The egg's still blocking very well. Although, I have to believe this is a cancelled Spire if they commit to it. Not really going for it though. Going for the drones. One drone goes down, 2. Okay. So that's a lot of damage, and we do see the Terran move up, but at this point, does Terran have stim back? I have to ask, because it's been a long game. Like, Terran isn't really weak anymore, maybe? Yeah, we do see a medic there, so... 1v2, absorbing the attack. Okay, now... Normally this would create a counter-attack opportunity, but we do have a cannon on the ramp, so I'm not sure if we can go for that. Possibly though with these speedlings. So, you're gonna have to make a choice now, like, do you defend your ally with Marines?
Right.
Or do you go for like an all-in? And I think all-in cannons is just not gonna work, so this is gonna have to be a macro option, I believe.
Yeah, and this is sort of worst case scenario, right? Like the mindset is to hold 1 versus 2, and then for your Terran ally to maybe do like a counter and maybe catch them kind of situation. But being that the Terran here decided to help, it just forces them to be defensive, and now Terran's going to be a little bit light on forces at home, so electing to go for that 3rd rack.
Exactly, that's a huge thing to point out. 3rd racks means no irradiate, which means Muta's going to be a massive pain in the bottom here.
Yeah.
Like whenever you move out, counterattack. Of course, the Spire was cancelled there, so
Exactly.
I mean, we could see an expansion from Protoss here at this point with the map control by these Mutalisks for sure. Although, if you go for that, the one card that Ranker has to play is those speedlings. So when the Mutas are up here going for harassment, he could actually sneak some Zerglings out and prevent an expansion. And looks like he's getting a few out on the map right now. We don't have an expansion attempt. We have Dragoons though. So what is that? 3-gate Goon? Oh, it's actually only Goons with +1. So neither Templar nor Reaver, just Dragoons with upgrades.
Right. Yeah, so this bodes for more of a linear style, knowing that they did considerable damage to the Zerg. They're looking to seal the deal here, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, we got these Marines defending, but they're defending what, like a weak Zerg who doesn't have Spire, right? So
yeah.
Feeding again like Banana and Linden being, I mean, they have like what's sort of rank 1 shield battery, so
Right.
Definitely
Yeah.
showing. Just huge. They don't even have to do anything at this point. They're outscaling. I mean, at some point, these Dragoons are going to be able to walk down a ramp and take an expo. And it's not going to be stoppable. Or even 2v1 like this.
Right.
Mutalisks come. This is sick timing, actually, because we don't have any Mutalisks for Ranker.
Yeah,
and you weren't able to hold the ramp because you had to ant the air in the main, which means the Dragoons were to come out.
Exactly.
More Marines coming out, but again, these Marines coming out, they can't really counterattack because the photon cannons on the ramp, They're just so strong. And I think when you have cannons on the ramp, you have to play macro, and that basically means you need like one vessel at every base to prevent meter harassment, and like you gotta expand yourself basically. Then maybe play like an expansion denial. But yeah. Rank were just barely not able to hold on there. I think, I don't know, like maybe he needed like a second sunken, or I'm not sure what he needed. It's tough.
Yeah,
I think that Spire cancel was it. That was the end.
Yeah, yeah, it was a tough start. Yeah, and the GG is called.
GG. So 2-0 for Banana Island.
Yep, that's it. 0-2 in a best of 5 series. Mentally in this spot, just to, I guess, share a little bit of what's going on between me and Rancor. We're just kind of, remaining sort of calm and sort of talking through sort of our mistakes there, and thinking through sort of what the next map should be and sort of where our focuses should be. But we're just trying to get back to the fundamentals of what we're looking to accomplish. Last game was kind of in between. We were trying to tech to Spire, but at the same time we didn't consider the break timing of the Zealots and the Zerglings, so our defense was a little bit short. So a little bit of a miscomm there, but looking to get back into this thing. Our back is against the wall. That's where we're at right now.
Oh, it's,
All right, so 0-2. Let's see what Game 3 has for us in this best of 5 against Nana and Linden.
Yeah, so Fighting Spirit is the map of choice here. And we got JIRAIYA, spawning against the blue Terran here. Cyan Terran at the top right. His ally is going to be Rancor, so at least it's not cross positions. Got the Grey Zerg here, Rancor at the bottom right. Zerg Terran team. Versus Banana over here at the bottom left, playing as the Protoss. And his ally going to be the Red Zerg here in London.
Yeah, so this is going to be on Fighting Spirit. The rationale here was let's play at home, right? Like, let's play where we're comfortable. We have thousands and thousands of games on this map. Let's get a dub here. Let's get a win, and let's do the best that we can on a map that we are very comfortable in. So that's sort of the rationale of picking Fighting Spirit.
Right, so he's trying to get a standard game going,
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, some SimCity at the ramp. Now, you can't actually do like a linear type wall here, but you can do a Zealot type wall in this position if you know how to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you want to go for that, but that is an option.
Yeah, this is the worst spawn location. Every other spot, nice Ling-proof wall, but this is the only one where you can't quite make it that way. It will be a one Ling wall situation, so you do have to stuff that with something to stop the flow of Lings, but otherwise, Rancor also in one of the worser positions on the map. So from a spawn position, the right side is not as favorable as the left side. But I don't know, vOddy, I don't know if you know this, but mining optimization.
Yeah.
Gas deal here from Nana.
So that forces Rancor into 2-edge play. I don't know if he was going to go for a fast gas, but he definitely can't do it now.
Yeah.
So already taking the initiative. I mean, I hope you were planning to go for hatch on the ramp, mass link, late tech, because that's what you're doing at this point.
Yeah, no, he was. His build was catered to make that second hatch quicker. But now the gas is going to be that much later. That was purposeful.
It wasn't supposed to be this late, I assume, right?
Yeah. Now, the dynamic that's a little bit different here. So now Rancor and I are sharing the same position. Zerg is closer to Rancor in this spot. I mean, not Zerg. Protoss is closer to Rancor in this spot. So that means the Zealots will get there quicker. But the Zerglings will get there not as quick, right? It's longer distance for the Zerg, so there is that element. So right now we're just thinking, okay, we need to survive, Rancor. We need to survive.
Yeah. You have to be expecting like a capitalization of the gas theft to be like fast layer, that has to be like the standard. And in addition to that, we got a 2v1 coming in here before the sunken. That's always like a dangerous timing, right? If you're trying to take the ramp, it's great when you get it, but before that, it's a little bit dicey to get that sunken up, which they're looking to exploit here. Banana and Linden.
Precisely. This
also with the Terran ally, you can't really help too. So
Exactly. Very tricky spot for Rancor. He's gotta do this with precision.
But if he micros this, I mean, they're on a clock here because we do have that sunken on the way. And
Yeah.
if that finishes and he has the ramp, he's safe for now. Then, of course, he's got to deal with the Mutalisks. But here we go. Looks like they're not about to try to go for it. Yeah, the sunken's almost done. So these Marines, I don't know. Like, I guess you were expecting them to all in a bit harder than they were committing. You might actually get a denied of this cannon here, which would be amazing, really. If you can get this, that would be like the most valuable 4 Marines without stim I've ever seen. Wow, dude. I mean, Talon counterattacks at this stage of the game are such trash. Maybe they didn't even expect you to try. But definitely paying off here. Canceling that cannon. Getting planes.
They didn't expect the 4-minute 4 Marine rush.
Did you even get a drone here, dude? Yikes. Yeah, gets a drone. Holy shit. Gets another drone. What? What are these Marines, dude? Insane. Gets a third drone? Oh my days! And the counterattack at the same time. What? What an upset. Holy crap. Wow.
And that's all she wrote, folks.
Alright, so 2-1 now. Putting one on the board for JIRAIYA and Ranker there. Very sweet.
Yeah, it's a big sigh of relief. We don't get swept. Yeah, so that's 1-2. Really good execution there from Rancor, coinciding the 4 Marine 4-minute timing from myself. But
Wow.
yeah,
I mean,
sometimes games can go like that.
that was like the one timing, dude, because that cannon gets up and you can't do anything, and then they're ahead on tech and everything. Like, the one chance you have, like, I'm telling you, man, our posts would have raged at a loss like that. But I gotta ask you, did you know your timing? Or did you just, like, was it a Hail Mary? Like, what were you thinking going for that?
So, you know, like you know and said, Terran really sucks in the beginning. Like, there's not much you can do when your ally is getting doubled. All you really could do is send what you have. And I did have an SCV sort of scouting, seeing the pattern of the lings. They were all streamlining south.
Yeah.
So I was okay with going out, but also the main purpose of those 4 Marines is to alleviate the pressure that my Zerg was having,
Right.
especially in that very sensitive window where Zealots and Zerglings are coming and your hatchery's not done on your ramp. Without that second support, it's very, you know, it's a sensitive window. So those 4 Marines can cause a distraction, and at the very least cause the Zerg to send back those lings away from my ally, and it would just be a bonus if I could catch a probe or a cannon or a drone or 2, which in that case it just happened to work out.
So you were basically thinking, I'm sacrificing these Marines because they're trash units, they're not going to do anything. But they're going to at least provoke a response so that my ally can live. But then it didn't provoke a response, so they died.
Yeah, I'm really happy that the Marines that I produce in this game of StarCraft are not sentient beings, because I am known for sacking my Marines for sure.
Yeah, it's just a game, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's just a trade. I'm just looking to trade.
Got it. Alright, well, we're going to see what map Linden and Banana pick here as we go into game 4.
All right, let's get into it.
And we have Paranoid Android. Now, this is a good choice because they know there's a Terran enemy team. And on a map like this, there's a chance you're going to get bad spawn locations. But what do we have here? We have at the top here, that's Rancor as the Zerg. And his ally is, fortunately for him, next to him, the yellow Terran here, JIRAIYA.
Right.
Versus the Zerg here, Linden, and the Protoss on the left, Banana. So at this time, you got the spawns you were looking for. Very good, very good.
Yep, we're definitely feeling good about ourselves right now based on these spawn locations. Yes, definitely the initial feeling of looking at this at the map selection. This is not the map that we like. Python, I personally think it's a PZ map, but based on these spawns, we're certainly feeling better about the situation.
Right, so again, going for some SimCity at the ramp. Of course, you got to be ready for 2v1. Like either player in a match like this. Basically, if you have a Terran on your team, get ready to 2v1. And that goes for, you know, both players on the team, for the Terran too.
Yeah.
So SimCity just gonna cut that off. We have a lot of options for Protoss. I mean, you could really go like, you know, 2 gate actually go for the 2v1, use the Terran weakness, or you could go like cannon, mega fast tech like Rush Reaver.
Right.
That's one thing you could do. That's of course a little bit stronger, possibly if you're next to the Terran. But it's a thing you can do. You know, Muta, Reaver 2v1. It's a pretty strong thing to go for. Looks like we're seeing again a fast gas from the red Zerg on Linden, and again not a fast gas, but a hatchery from the blue Zerg in Rancor. So a similar plan again as last time.
Yeah, interesting second hatch placement here from Rancor. I wonder if his gas mines to that one as a result. I'm not
I
sure.
think he's up to some SimCity shenanigans again.
Oh, okay.
Because this looks like a defensive position to me, where if units are coming in, you know, you can play Sunkets behind that. Could be pretty good. Oh, Mana Pylon trapping an SCB here. Interesting.
Yeah, that thing is so annoying.
And he could take the gas, but I don't know if he should, because it's pretty obvious you're going 2 racks anyway, so,
Right.
you know, maybe don't go for that. But the Mana Pylon instead is definitely an annoying... Oh yeah, 1 gate force. That's what I was talking about. Like, you don't have to actually make zealots, because the thing is, like, you might think, okay, Terran's weak early, so that's 2v1 with 2 gate. But he's so weak that even 1 gate, he still can't do anything, right? So you don't actually have to try to use the advantage to use it. Like, it's there anyway, you know? You don't have to... another pylon. Oh my days. Damn, that's gotta be annoying. Okay, at the same time, we got the pool first, just vibe checking, forcing the Sunken. Now, the Sunken isn't done, so we could see a run-by, maybe? I don't know if he wants to go for that, because then he will lose the lanes eventually. No, he just leaves, losing 1 lane in the process. Okay, so yeah, again, we're gonna see faster Mutalisks from red, but, you know, more units from blue, so... try to creep his way to the ramp, yep.
Yeah, and the 1 gate sort of earlier tech sort of option that Nana's doing here with the cannons, he's still accomplishing what he would have wanted to do with 2 gate, which is forcing the second Sunken,
right,
and forcing and basically containing the Zerg. So even off the 1 gate to be able to produce this type of reaction, certainly you know, you got to be feeling pretty good at ZP here, as both players are teching up quite quickly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little bit worried because, like, Terran's gonna have a lot of Marines, but they're not gonna be able to do anything because they can't go up the ramp, right? So, I don't know, like, I almost would have preferred, like, I mean, obviously you can't just go for that, but, like, with map pack, if I could have known and seen the future, I would have preferred, like a faster factory for faster vessels and stuff, you know?
Right.
At this point.
Well, listen, the sort of psyche right now between me and Rancor is we're just really glad that we're not going to get swept, meaning 3-0'd. So
yeah.
Right now we feel like we're free rolling.
Yeah.
We were just like, let's just have fun with it, you know, let's just do our best. So, you know, we're just playing the best we can. I think in this spot, when they're playing this defensively and teching up, there's 2 ways to go about it. You can either tech up and try to catch up, or you can just try to make a lot of units, at least from a Terran perspective. Flooding a lot of units against 1 gate and 1 hatch, not exactly the worst idea.
It's gonna accomplish one thing, and that the enemy will not be able to expand against these 3 barons. It's like they're never gonna make it down the ramps, right?
Yep.
And then maybe at some point, you know, Zerg, Rancor, the blue Zerg, could expand if you put enough Marines there, possibly. Like, so you're gonna be like the carry at this point, and you're just gonna have a ton of units, Speedlings and Marines. So an expansion is not on the table. And on this map, there's no Island Expo right in the corners. So if he goes for like a Reaver, he doesn't really get anything. You know, it's gonna be 1.
Right.
So we got these Marines and Medics just to vibe check in with the links too, like making sure there's no Expo on the way, making sure there are cannons. You want to tax the enemy, of course, force them to make those cannons.
Exactly.
But yeah, first mutas are out now, so we're gonna have to see, I assume... Well, we did see an Evo chamber actually, so we might have some spores. Yeah, we have spores, so that's pretty good. That means you don't have to have units tied up there defending. He doesn't have a lair yet, but like, I'm wondering, like, are you gonna go... Are you going for it, or are you gonna like expand and only have links, you know? Because that's a lot of links with an Evo chamber.
Yeah, definitely a slower layer kind of style, putting more things onto the map, providing vision for his Terran ally. I think that's what Rancor was looking
Lair
for
on the
here.
way now, good. So we will see some Mutalisks eventually.
Yeah.
Of course, that is so standard. Like, trying to go for... I mean, if you want to go... Like, bear with me, I know you're gonna laugh at this, but you could go Hydra, Lurker and stuff, but if you do that, Terran has to get faster vessels so that Zerg can, you know, leave his base and not die. With the radiates, it's basically the only way, but most people don't play that way. It's very unstandard. Okay, so Link's dying here. Yeah, Muta's been pushed back. Now, this is 2H Muta from Linden, and that's going to be an issue eventually, because against, Marines with no vessels, you're so vulnerable to counterattack this Terran, especially if it's like a Reaver Muta CB1.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean, you're probably expecting Reavers at this point, right? Protoss.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't recall scanning at this point, but I do just feel like because of my allies' sort of coverage on the minimap,
Yeah.
at the very least I'll be prepared for either if it is DT, because around now is when you would expect DT, and when you don't see it, you can sort of deduce that it's Reaver. Being that it's left versus right, the Reaver coverage on the minimap is really important, like shuttle coverage with the Lings.
And you can see the patrolling here. The Lings are patrolling everywhere. They might actually scout that.
Yeah.
They might see this. Okay, they're missing it now, so that's actually huge that this Reaver's getting unchecked here. And the reason is probably, well, I mean, we see the Mutas up here.
The Mutas are distracting.
Yeah, they're distracting it here. And, oh, yeah. So the Mutas are baiting Terran to go there. And then, oh, but look at this. No! Okay, he got it. Okay, so catching that was huge, dude. What they were trying to do was like make Terran go to the left, then 2v1 the Terran, and then because he can't enter the base as fast as the air units can. But catching that, dude. Also, I've gotta say, I would have expected you to see that sooner. With the amount of links that he had control on the map, it was actually a little bit lucky it even got that far, I have to say.
Yeah, definitely should have done a cleaner job of killing that shuttle, but thankfully didn't end up getting it. Definitely a moment where it's like, I remember Rancor and I were like, okay, that was good.
Yeah, definitely. Alright. I love these links, by the way, vibe checking the expo, because when you have more ground units, you have to prevent the sneaky cannon expo. Like, you cannot let Protoss do that.
Yeah.
Because that's the advantage you have units, on the ground. So just patrolling, playing whack-a-mole, trying to catch, Mutas trying to catch, and the first vessel, by the way. It's going to be huge with that irradiate to stop the Muta harassment. Still don't have a Spire, do we? Oh, we do. There it is. It was covered by the overlay. So Mutas should be popping out. Yeah, there we go, the first Mutas. Now at this point, if you can prevent Protoss from expanding with like a 2v1, you could be in a pretty good position, but if he defends with the Reaver, that's going to be difficult. And the Mutas being annoying AF here, we don't have a radiate yet. One thing to mention though is, you have Spore Colonies in Rancor space, and they don't have that in Linden space, so... Okay, very sweet by the way, denying the expansion. So, like, possibly you could go for like a counterattack with the blue Mutalisks. If you see where the red Mutas are and they're tied up, you could possibly counterattack, but at this point you want to get that irradiate out, really, it's a crucial upgrade, so... choosing to defend here, I don't... Oh my days. He's gonna get it. It would definitely cost a lot to go for this, so it's probably not gonna be popping. Okay. And irradiate does finish. Right, so that's 14. At this point... Whoa, okay. Massive sniper there. I think what happened there is like, when a Reaver's going down the ramp, at some angles it like can't shoot. It's kind of annoying, kind of rage-inducing. That's probably what happened right there. It's too bad we didn't catch that, but there's a lot going on in 2v2, of course. So, units getting cleaned up here. First classic 2v1. Dragoon Reaver. At this point, Protoss could possibly expand. I'm not sure, because like the Reaver is just so strong to defend with,
Yep.
I'm not sure if Bio can really threaten that, so maybe you're going to have to expand yourself and play a macro game, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we still retain control here. Definitely, Protoss should be playing defensive. Without that shuttle, they really lack the mobility.
Right. Oh, dangerous. Almost got sniped there. Big irradiate during the fight, which is huge. No split yet. No split still. Massive irradiate. Okay, big victory right there. I mean, I heard a lot of red Mutas dying right there. And if he could get that shuttle, actually, he didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so we might have to see some miracle Muta snipes again, like last time, where he killed like a bunch of... he's going for it, gets the Reaver and the shuttle. Oh, but that Scarab was yikes.
Yeah, I hate Reaver.
Okay, big irradiate again. These Dragoons are a bit of an issue. They could actually contain a little bit at the bottom of the ramp. Because you don't have irradiate right now, I believe, which means Muta versus Muta is not an issue. That's your main advantage with the vessels, essentially. Very good cutting off reinforcements here. Very nice. Yeah, those irradiates were so huge early. GG, wow. Yeah, I was just about to say that the mute advantage for Rancor was getting out of control due to that fighting. And I was about to say that like he could basically go kill Zerg because Protoss only has Goon Weaver and the Goons can't really get into the main, so I guess foreseeing that they just called it.
Yeah, arguably an early GG, but yes, that's precisely why Nana GG, the Muta versus Muta. Those E-Rads were very costly for Linden, and as a result, I think when the game concluded there, my ally had something like 11 Muta, and Linden might have had like 5 or 6. So yeah, GG, and now tied the series 2-2. So high pressure situation here going to game number 5. Between myself and Rancor and Nana and Linden.
Yes, let's see what map they pick.
Oh, it's not Sparkle.
I was afraid of Sparkle because like Terran on Sparkle, maybe a little bit rough, ZP favored, you know, but they did pick Luna, so don't worry about that. And we have Linden here. Linden playing Protoss this time.
Yep.
As the blue Protoss. And his ally is going to be Zerg now, so Linden and Banana switching races now. This might be because they're planning a different strategy, and maybe like one of their Zergs likes, you know, 1 hatch, one likes 2 hatch or something. I'm not sure, but it is anyway going to be Rancor at the top right as the Zerg, and the Terran at the bottom left as the Terran. So cross position's pretty good for the Zerg Protoss team to start off with. Overall, though, this map, it's I mean, it's 2v2, so it doesn't matter that much, I have to imagine, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, kind of like what we talked about in the prior series with Andy Biggie versus Izu and Wave. Neo Luna plays like 9 pool often from the Zergs because of that ramp. But in TP versus CT, you know, you're not going to see the Zerg that's associated with Protoss stay mass versus like biocomposition. So a little bit different here in a ZT versus EP matchup. But this is the map with the big ramp, smaller sized.
Right.
12 pool here from Rancor.
Yeah, so for the first time, not actually going hands first.
Yeah. So Rancor is delaying his gas. He's looking to get his second hatchery on his ramp. And it looks like Banana went for 9 pool.
Yes, indeed. So 2 gate, and we're gonna see. Do you expect to see 9 pool speed or 9 pool lair? I have to imagine 9 pool lair because they can see that like there's a late gas with enemy Zerg, right?
Yeah.
That actually blocked that hatch a little bit with the probe.
Oh, he's going to speed first. Interesting.
Speed first, okay, interesting. I mean, it is cross position, like map control does matter. And, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and it's worth noting, Linden doing a really good job with his probe. He denied Rancor where he originally wanted to plant the second hatchery. As a result, you had to make it there, which is not as favorable, I think. I mean, it's kind of close, but from a spore coverage standpoint, it does sort of limit a little bit that coverage, but not the worst case.
Yeah, we're gonna see the links come out just in time, it seems like, for this 2v1 attempt here.
Yeah.
And Sunken also read in time, so.
Yeah, nice early exchange there for Rancor picking off, not picking off fully, but doing the damage, forcing Nana to retreat and wait for that initial Zealot.
It's going for the containment again, but they're gonna get it. Yeah, okay, yeah, they got it. Sure. Speed is ready, but the Sunken is also ready, so. The follow-up, of course, you have an Overlord in the enemy Zerg base, which is Banana's base at this point, so you know the timings.
Right,
and that's pretty sweet. So, I don't know, I mean, you're gonna have to play with Link against later, with later tech again.
Yeah.
With links, and they're probably gonna go exactly for cannons again. That's what I was thinking, because that's just a way to use that you have superior technology. This time there was 2-gate cannon, so I'm wondering if they're gonna go for like a hard container with cannons outside of the Zerg main because his lair is so late.
Because he's making those cannons at his Zerg, Linden is making the cannons at Nana. He's not gonna make that like redundant. He's not gonna make those cannons at Z at this point, but this is kind of tricky for Rancor. He needs to sort of balance defense with
Yeah, it's just like last time, right? Because he's got to get to Spire eventually, but how do you
Yeah.
do that when you got this stuff?
Exactly.
To worry about.
So good trade here against the Zealots, but all these Lings are now going to be able to flood in.
There's
And
only one
there's one
sunken.
sunken. Yeah.
This could be a lot of drone losses here.
No.
Okay, drills for it. Doesn't get a great drill.
Lings do get out in just in time.
At least he didn't lose any drones.
Right.
So, you know, he's gonna have to remake that sunken though. And the Mutalisks are coming. They are definitely coming.
Yeah, so this is a tough spot here. Thankfully, with the speed first from Banana, the Spire and the Mutas are not as fast as they could possibly be.
Right,
But in a situation where it's cross map and you really want to be able to defend for yourself, it forces the ZT team to play defensive.
Oh, that drone went down.
Oh man,
Damn.
that hurts.
You cannot afford to be losing even a single drone at this point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we got cannons everywhere, we got faster Mutalisks, and Terran has Marines, you know? Doesn't really have a threat, so, I don't know. Feels
Yeah.
like Protoss and Zerg is outmaneuvered once again.
Yeah, I mean, in this spot, we just gotta defend, right? The Terran needs to defend his ally until his ally has enough legs underneath himself to make the defense. Right now, he's sort of in between. Thankfully, he's got 2 hatch, so he can kind of,
Spam a lot of drones.
bubble out. Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually going to be able to have a sick economy because you're guarding him like this. And he's checking the expos with the speedlings, which is huge.
Right.
Protoss is going to have a choice here, which is Linden at this point, to go Reaver or Templar base. I mean, he could go Master Goon too. That's an option as well, I suppose.
Right.
So I guess those are his 3 choices. And I don't know though. I mean, this is a big Baron. I mean, a big ball of bio here. It's going to be difficult to expand against it. One thing you got going for you, I guess, as the blue team here, is counterattacking Mutas, right? Like this stuff. Terran can't really leave his base when stuff like this keeps happening. Gets over here, yeah. So, if you can like threaten counterattacks enough and then sneak in an expo, maybe, could be pretty sweet. That's a lot of drones, though.
Yeah.
That is a lot of drones. But again, I mean, he's not going to be in the game for like 2-3 minutes, I have to imagine. And at that point, Protoss is going to have his take of choice.
Right.
Factor going up, so... I mean, you have a lot more units at least. It seems like you have enough units that you can actually leave units everywhere and still do stuff with them, right? Like, you've got Marines here, for example.
Right.
So he's safe against counterattacks. Losing 1 drone, 2, 3... Okay, a really good harassment actually, but nonetheless. There's an element of map control that you have with the Fireball, where the opponent at least can't expand.
Right.
But are you thinking like... yeah, I mean, I was going to suggest maybe you expand, but I know you have to get a vessel, because if you don't, the Mutaclan will get out of control.
Right.
At some point, so probably not in the cards to expand. Yeah, there's the starport, exactly. You just need those vessels to eat the Mutalisks.
Yeah.
But, this is a one-hatching Zerg from blue, basically. Banana is just making Mutas. So if Radgar can get into the game, he's going to be a lot stronger. And that means Protoss is going to have to carry, Linden is going to have to carry with either Dragoon Reaver or Storm.
Right.
So I wonder what he's going for. Yeah, Templar, got it, okay. So ET, Storm, probably wants to expand with that. Although at this point, you almost already have a vessel, so I don't think DTs are really a big deal. I mean, you're not scared of DTs at this point, right?
Yeah, I think I think we've been banking some scan. I don't recall knowing the tech at this point, but I do feel like
Maxed out
because
Townsend,
Protoss
by the way.
has so many Zealots, we got to be careful with what we do out onto the field, not to get sandwiched.
Right. Yeah,
Plus
you
one hit.
definitely have to prevent this expo. So, can the Zerling scout it? Yes. Do you think you saw the DT too, by the way?
We did.
Yes, okay, so you know what's going on now. You know that there's an expo on the way, DTs are out. Oh, this is so annoying, dude.
But I did
We
not
have
see
enough
this.
Yeah, it's difficult to go deny expo. We have a battle, by the way, in the middle too. Looks like some Zealots getting pushed back. So good multitasking here from the Terran. JIRAIYA just like microing two fronts pretty well, I have to say. And this is an scan. We need a scan. There we go. Finally, okay.
Oh,
Even with that though, I believe you can deny this expo. Although that was a lot of dead Marines. You think these are enough mutas at this point? I don't think so. Still, another DT. We need a scan. There we go. Scans it. Here come the speed lots now, going for the sandwich, and looks like we barely have enough mutas. Now, I think if those DTs had not gotten those kills off, maybe you could have held. I'm not sure. So the expansion stays.
right.
That's
Yeah.
a big yikes. One thing you're going for you is you're going to have a muted explosion eventually, and theoretically, maybe your ranker could kill a banana down here at the bottom right. With superior mutant numbers, that could happen, especially if you can zone out any Protoss assistance. Maybe that could happen. You could do like a 2v1 with like a Vessel and Muta attack also. Maybe.
Right.
So that's what I see your chance lying in. Whereas, of course, the Protoss team, Linden and Banana, they just need to survive. Like, they have a Protoss taking that expansion, and he's got to be unstoppable eventually. So as long as nothing happens in this game, they should be good. Cannons even going up. So, yeah, what do you think about 2v1ing the Zerg? With like a Muta Vessel or something. I mean, it seems like the only chance, or like elevatoring into Protoss. I don't even know if that's gonna work though.
Yeah.
DTs again. So winded. Okay, almost getting a timing here with the cannons, not ready. Okay. I think we have Storm though. Yeah, the Marines are acting scared of the Storm, and I understand why. The first Storm actually a pretty big one. Goes down.
Losing the
so
first vessel,
yeah.
I had to radiate. That one definitely hurts.
Yeah, that hurts. That was like maybe a timing to deny that expo actually miraculously, but
Yep.
he's barely slipping away.
Yeah, and sort of that probe is now haunting Rancor. You know, the forced hatchery in that location.
Oh yeah, yeah.
This is sort of why. Not the best spot for that.
Indeed. So at this point, Protoss got his expo up, and I think the timing's closing now with Storm Cannon, unfortunately. I'm actually impressed you went for the Protoss, because I would have just gone like 2v1 Zerg
Right.
with the Mutas, which actually would have been a worse choice because it would have taken too long to get superior Muta count. So going for the Protoss was the right choice, and it almost worked. Like, it actually could have worked. I'm thinking like if he had run by with the links and just canceled the cannons first of all, right?
Me and Rancor talked about that. That was a squandered opportunity. Those links should not have engaged with the Zealots. Could have gone in and maybe slow down those cannons.
Because when there aren't any cannons, that means Terran can really like send in just a few Marines at a time to not die to Storm, basically, right? Like there's no
Right.
you have infinite time to just micro when there are
Yeah.
no cannons. So I think you could have gone for that maybe.
Yeah, even though Nana is a Protoss player, his Zerg is very good too. He plays
Got it.
Zerg very often with Scan.
Oh, look at this, dude! This is like the classic 2v2 pro move.
What
so
is
you're gonna
this?
go shut this down. This is like for gas
the far
mining,
gas?
you know?
Yeah.
That's such a 2v2 move, actually.
Yep.
But
Now, what's the
yeah, gotta shut
optimal
that
number
down.
of drones?
Depends on the map, but on this one it looks like 7 or 8.
Oh, big attack
This
here.
is far away. Oh my days, you're going up ramp with cannons. Okay, so this is what I was thinking, like 2v1ing the Zerg.
Right.
Two cannons left actually. Okay, Muta's falling, only one cannon now? Wow, okay. Now you could hold the ramp against Protoss here, and if you kill the Zerg, you're back in the game, 2v1. It doesn't mean you're winning, because Protoss is disgustingly strong on 2 bases in 2v2. But you could win 2v1 for sure. In fact, if you kill the Zerg here, which you might actually do, because I don't see a lot of Protoss coming in, then your Zerg ranker could even switch to Fighter Lurk. Like, you can actually go for that. And at that point, it's just like, I mean, 2v1 energy is going to be too strong.
Right.
We actually do see an expansion coming up from JIRAIYA the Return here at the bottom left, preparing to play that long 2v1 macro game versus the Protoss. Going for that Templar Snipe, getting it. And more Mutas coming in. Dark Archon with a Mainstorm possibly. Mainstorm Storm combo could be sick. But yeah, we have 3. Okay, there's the Mainstorm. We need Storm. There we go. Need actually one more. Doesn't go for it. Okay. Because he knows his allied Mutas can finish that off, I suppose. But yeah, we basically have a 2v1. Oh my days, what a storm dodge. Nice. Got Slayer's Boxer in with the Marines. Dodging storms, kiting zealots. GG. Wow, dude. Running up the ramp. I thought for sure, man. Okay. I thought that was Ripperone in the other direction.
I was trying to play it as quietly as possible without ruining
You had a
anything.
poker face for sure. I mean, I didn't see it come. Wow.
Yeah, that's 2 versus 2, baby.
I want to point one thing out. He sent the Midas first to tank the cannons, which was huge, because that allowed your Marines to do a lot of damage.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, our backs were against the wall. We were in a YOLO moment. Protoss secured his second base. We had one more move left, and that was to pull the very original units that we gave to our Zerg, consolidate with the units that we had left by our barracks, and just go. We had our
that's
second
where those
vessel
units
out.
came from. I got it, because they were there to be anti-muta. And you were like, you know what, gotta take a risk. So you left him vulnerable, hoping it wouldn't be discovered. Because if you're discovered, I mean, he dies, and drones are good. But it wasn't, you got away with it, and you got like 10 extra units, and you just went for it.
Yeah, we won by the smallest margin. We were down, I would say we were probably down to like a 33% chance to win after we failed our chance to deny the base from Protoss originally, but we still retained that army kind of thing. So we were, from there it dropped down to 33. And then, that was the only option we had. And we watched that replay after that game, and we just realized we won by the slightest margin. Rancor dived in. It was hard to catch, but he dived in with those mutas to kill the only High Templar that was sitting on Zerg's ramp.
Again, with miracle smokes.
If that did not happen, we would not have been able to do what we did. So obviously a come from behind sort of victory, which it's a crazy sort of reverse sweep kind of situation. But
that was insane. If they had like realized, I'm not saying like they should have done this, like almost nobody would do this, but theoretically, if they had thought, okay, the only thing we can lose to right now is a desperate 2v1, let's be ready for that. And then, if he had literally hotkeyed his cannons and looked for it and targeted Marines like 1, 2, 3 click, you would not have won. Like, it was that close, But you caught him by surprise, you executed it well, and sniping the Templar, tanking with the mutas, they weren't ready for it. You managed to barely like destroy the Death Star, basically, in the last possible minute.
Yeah, definitely. Every series in this tournament, I have to tell you, it's never easy. We've lost a game every single series. It's never been like not close. It's always been 2-1 or whatever. This not being any different. So, hats off to Nana and Lyndon. Very formidable opponents there. Played really, really well, and quite frankly, we had to get really lucky in those last 3 games there to pull it out. So super competitive, really good matches, and more to come. Very excited for still being part of this, not just as a capture. As around this time last season, Zero, I was like fully out and just sort of outside looking in, but to still be in it is very exciting. So yeah.
Yeah, good games for sure. So thank you very much. If you want to support future, if you want to support more future events, definitely check out patreon.com/bombastic or donate. But to ensure the next BSL, got more events coming up. There's a LAN coming up and stuff. So Zero's definitely busy hosting StarCraft, basically keeping foreign StarCraft burning. So here we got the generals at 100 a month. We got, for example, Striker and Ayokin and My Fleeting Dream. And then... No, not Striker, sorry. That's STRFKR. I don't know how to pronounce that. But we do have the real Striker actually at kernel level, 50 a month. And then Believe in Zero, Rev, Hashed Fuzzy, Majors. We got Team Cost, Apocalypse, Robert Grast. Growth, sorry. I have a small monitor at the moment. And then for the majors, we got Suricata, On My Way, Gordon Bradley, KJ, Daniel Lopez, LML, Machine USA, Quark UK, Stephen Robertson, Mr. Cat, Andre. I'm going to try to pronounce this. Nicolescu, Andre Nicolescu. Duvas and Malino. And thank you so much to everyone else as well. I'm not reading all of that, but thank you very much.
Yeah, and as always, Zero, thank you very much for the invite. Had a pleasure casting with you today, vOddy. Second time together. Really fun casting with you. And yeah, thanks very much for the invite, and continue to support BSL, especially 2 versus 2. I know we still have ways to go for there to be a season 3, so definitely consider supporting Zero and BSL and the rest of the team. And yeah, stay tuned for more to come in this tournament, 2 versus 2 season 2 of BSL.
Yeah, we're gonna have some sick games with Bonnet Siki, you know.
Yeah,
TT1.
the final bosses.
Yeah, they've been doing really well, so I look forward to seeing. I don't know if I'm gonna be casting it, but I'll be watching it at least, probably. It's gonna be pretty sick. These games have been insane, dude. That comeback was so. I mean, I really thought it was over, and so did they, right? Yikes.
Yeah, and so did we.
Yeah, that was crazy. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you everybody for donating. Thank you for having me. I'm gonna say goodnight right now.
All right, until next time. Good night.